Hello, everybody. Whoops, had my mic pulled up there. Hello, everybody. God taking a dump here. Thanks for joining into Streamception. This episode will be strictly covering some of the anti-Trump protests that are ongoing in New York right now. We've got the latest, pulled up some footage from Periscope in downtown New York at the Wall Street location around downtown Manhattan in New York State, New York City. We will be putting up that footage now. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to get started with this, let people kind of get into the stream, and then we'll be moving on and talking about some topics that I had saved for last night and some topics that I have gotten to gathered for today as well. So really appreciate you guys joining in, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that footage up now. As you can see, this is in downtown New York. This is live right now outside of the Wall Street Center.
Next! Next! We will hear! We will hear!
And this is going to be a anti-Trump demonstration that you're watching.
Who's going to talk about the Dakota Access Pipeline?
And of course, this protest is more than it's a rally, whatever you want to call it. It's more than likely going to deal with all of the executive action that Donald Trump has undertaken so far in his presidency. But as I said, I'm going to let this play for a little bit. We're going to let people join in. I appreciate you guys joining in. Give me just a minute. I'm going to continue pulling up some topic information as well. Hey, Donald Trump. Hey, St. Earth. Glad you guys could join in. Glad to see y'all. Glad to see you, St. Earth. Thank you so much. Yeah, hardworking Americans, just not you lot.
There's no future for any of us. There's no future for any of us. That's why we are here today. That's why we are here today. And that's why we will be back. And that's why we will be back. Every Tuesday. Every Tuesday. And every other day, really. And every other day, really. Until Trump. Until Trump. And government sacks. And government sacks. Is no more. Is no more.
So I guess that's what they're calling the Trump administration, government sacks. There's even like a sign over here somewhere that says government sacks, like Goldman Sachs.
Water is life. 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 Agua es vida. 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 Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. We are meeting. At 42nd. And 6. 42nd. 42nd. And 6. And 6. Check. Check. Resist here. Resist here. Check. Check. Resist here. Resist here. To find out. To find out. More updates. More updates. And who. We're visiting. We're visiting. So that they. Quit. Quit. Trump. Economic. Council. We need. Every corporation. Every corporation.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true, St. Earth. Industry has industrialized corporations and manufacturers have absolutely been allowed to run rampant when it comes to EPA regulations, while people like you and I have been held to the highest uh, regulations possible, such as septic tanks, um, you know, obviously holding various chemicals on your property and stuff like that. But when it comes to like a corporation or a large scale manufacturing plant or anything to that effect, a lot of them get away with many, many, many illegal and wrong things. So yeah, you're absolutely right. For instance, here in North Carolina, not long ago, Duke Power got into a big ordeal over dumping coal ash into the Yadkin River and I believe another one of the other main rivers in North Carolina, and it contaminated and polluted a large area of tributaries and branching creeks and rivers from the Yadkin, and I think the New River as well. So it's definitely something that affects everybody everywhere, and that's one thing that I can say that I would obviously support when it comes to that aspect. But anything else, being against Trump, because of him, on the travel ban. I think they're going a little bit too far. There's too much disinformation. We've covered all that though, right? Okay, let's see if we can find a little bit more coverage here, and then we will continue to let people pile into the stream, and then we will get right on these topics. Still pulling up some information on the other topic. Thanks for joining and thanks for bearing with me. Again, I appreciate you guys a whole hell of a lot. Hope you guys have been well. How's everybody doing? You doing well, Donald? How about you, Saint Earth? You guys' day's been going well. And again, I want to apologize again for last night. Was not feeling my best. Definitely, obviously, you guys can probably tell according to my listening to my voice and stuff. I was not as alive and awake and as vibrant as I usually am. So tonight I've definitely gotten some rest. I've definitely caught up on that rest. I've definitely done some research today and gotten my topics. I actually got my topics right in front of me from last night and some for today. So we got a lot to cover, and we're gonna hit it wide open. So again, thanks for joining back with me, guys, and sorry about last night. Obviously, as you can see right here, it looks like we've got Senator Elizabeth Warren. I think she's discussing. This is the senatorial hearing on the. It's either the something dealing with Betsy DeVos, which I think we were going to talk about tonight. Yeah, I got this on here, and or it could be about Jim Sessions. Let's take a listen to this.
The federal courts hold a unique position in our constitutional system, ensuring that minorities and other citizens without political power have a forum in which to vindicate their rights. Because of this unique role, it is essential that the people selected to be federal judges respect the basic tenets.
Yeah, it sounds like this may be dealing with the appointment of Neil Gorsuch, Supreme Court judge.
Rights and a commitment to equal justice for all. The integrity of the courts, and thus the rights they protect, can only be maintained if citizens feel confident that those selected as federal judges will be able to.
Why don't you like her, Saint Earth?
Others holding different views. I do not believe Jefferson Sessions possesses the requisite judgment, competence, and sensitivity to the rights guaranteed by the federal civil rights laws to qualify for appointment to the
Okay, this live stream's not doing very good right now. Let's see if we can pull something else up. Definitely not something we want to check out. I don't see much going on. I know there's supposed to be something planned in San Diego, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and take a run over there real quick. See if we can find anything. See, that's not San Diego. Where is San Diego in relations to San Francisco? Should be pretty close, if I'm not mistaken. There's Sacramento. It's not going to be Northern California. That's way too far north. Let's see, Inglewood, oh, there's San Diego. Okay. Nope, doesn't look like something current that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing much going on here. We'll come back to this and we'll check it out again in a few minutes. See if something comes up on Rally on Periscope one more time just to make sure we're not missing anything. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we're not missing anything. See, with that being said, we can go ahead and get on these topics if you guys want to. Saint Earth says, one thing I did like her for is how she bitched out the Wells Fargo dude. Oh yeah, okay, I know the guy. Was that when Wells Fargo needed that bailout? Is that what you're talking about? Saint Earth also says, I'm not a fan of how the DNC cheated in the primary election. Warren was a part of that betray of voters. Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Saint Earth, and you couldn't be more right about that, for real. So thanks for letting us know your opinion on her. I got to agree. In most respects to Senator Warren, I don't like the fact that she kind of bends over and bends to the will for obviously the neocon, not the neocon, but the neo-democratic, neoliberal psychopaths that run the DNC that are obviously all puppeted by the Clinton Foundation. So I got to agree with you there. Robert asks, did you get those batteries recharged? Absolutely, my friend. Last night was a hard night for me. I wanted to continue on, man. I really did, but I was completely whooped. I needed to go lay down and get some rest and really catch up on some rest that I missed out on over the weekend. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me. Like I said earlier in the live stream already, I really appreciate you guys coming back and giving me another run at this. It's always a beautiful thing when I get my viewers to come back in and join me for these situations. So I really cherish it. Appreciate you, Robert. Thank you, man. Also, I got all my topics in front of me tonight, so I hope that is something that you're excited about, because I definitely got a few with last night's and today's added on. We've got a bunch of stuff to cover, so let's go ahead and get on some of that. Well, let's go ahead and see what's going on in DC. Maybe there's some live streams going on here. You never know. There could be some protest happening here that we may be missing on. CNN, more than likely, it's just a live stream of their fake bullshit that they're pushing. I'm not getting a very good reception from Facebook Live Map tonight. We're with Jake Tapper and Dana Bush. Yeah, we don't give a shit about them. Fox 10, we don't give a fuck about you. NPR is doing something. Alright, well, interesting and stuff, but we're not finding much there that we care about, do we? Oh yeah, and Robert, if you got anything you want to talk about, man, just throw it in the chat. We'll get right to it. But I'm going to go ahead and get started with these, with some of these topics. So let's pull it up. The first thing I wanted to cover was something I talked about a little bit last week. Let's see. Robert says, I'm at a party Wait, I ate a party-sized bag of cheese Doritos and couldn't sleep for shit. Elevated heart rate. Jeez Louise, man. A party-sized bag? Once you get going on those things, man, I know exactly where you're coming from. You can't stop. It's hard. It's tough to. Um, it's definitely tough to. So I'm glad you made it out of it there. So what I've got here is I've got a article from Steemit. It's a cool website, kind of like Reddit, a little bit more like it's like a combination of sort of WordPress and Reddit. People can go and like write stuff, and write these essays and whatever poetry they want to write, and then people can go and read it and then actually comment on it, and so it's a cool website. So I implore you guys to check out Steemit. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of great information on it. But anyways, I wanted to start out tonight with Zcash. This was from last night's topics that I never got a chance to talk about. We did discuss Zcash in a previous um, live stream. We didn't get too much into it. I think our friend 629, shout out to 629, uh, was interested in learning about it more, and I felt like he did. I think he said he was already going to invest in it. So uh, this is somebody who one of our viewers who said he or she invested into Bitcoin and saw obviously um, a great investment there. Obviously with this year's rise in Bitcoin prices on the market, so it was definitely hypothesized. It was definitely, people were out there saying, look, it's a possibility, and Bitcoin did it. Now there's this new one called Zcash, and it's pretty interesting. Um, Saint Earth says Wells Fargo is guilty of fucking over customers. It was an ethics issue. Fuck over customers for profit. Yeah, actually, my folks, my parents were involved with them during the time of that scandal, and there was a lot that they were dealing with regarding their personal account with them, their credit cards account with them. A lot of random fees and fines owned out of nowhere, and I think that they definitely used their customer base to pay off a lot of the money that they ended up owing to the federal government in the end. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Saint Earth. I'm glad you don't do that often, Robert, because eating a whole party-sized bag of cheese Doritos, good God. Saint Earth says, I want some Doritos. We'll go get you some, brother. Uh, Robert says, buy one, get one free. I think you probably meant to say Publix, right? It's one of those grocery stores. Um, but yeah, Robert, I don't know if you heard me about last night, but I did check out that video that you sent me, the greatest story never told. I didn't finish it all the way, obviously. I got into like a majority part of it, and talk about some crazy shit in there, man. Definitely some topics of interest in there that I never knew regarding the Nazi Party and Hitler himself. Definitely made him they kind of tried to glorify him a little bit in a way which I'm not super duper comfortable with purporting on this live stream. But if anybody's interested in learning some new things that they did not know maybe about World War II and the lead up to it and how it all started, and how the National Socialist Party became. For those of you that love history, just for the fact of knowing history, especially those of you who may be interested in World War II, check out The Greatest Story Never Told. Our friend Robert threw that out to me in one of our last live streams. I gotta say, it was had some pretty revealing facts in there that I never knew about. So leave that up to you guys to check out. But again, we're gonna get on Zcash. We're gonna talk about Zcash a little bit right now. So Zcash is basically like another version of Bitcoin, but it's more generous towards the user in regards to anonymity and how well you can preserve your ability to preserve your investments in Zcash, and also the system in which Zcash is mined is much more efficient than that of Bitcoin. Well, from what I've been able to read and understand about it so far. So we're going to read into it a little bit real quick. It says, new article just appeared online from the creator of Zcash. For all of you who don't know, Zcash is the first theoretically proven totally anonymous cryptocurrency. There have been others which use sophisticated schemes like ring signatures, stealth transactions, CoinJoin, or Tor, but these do not have the theoretical rigor behind them that Zcash does. Zcash is complete anonymity solution which hides all knowledge about the transactions, including the values being transacted and who the sender or receiver is. As a result, Zcash is invisible value exchange. So basically what that means is there's all that needs to be known the very integral information about what's being traded and the services and products being traded with with the Zcash involved as payment. The only thing that's going to be known between the buyer and seller is what's being traded, really, and the value of the Zcash being traded. To any other outside third party in regards to Zcash, they would never be able to know that information at all. There's absolutely no way. And we'll go on and explain how this makes sense and how it corresponds with the changing economy, how it's going to, what we're going to see for the future of Zcash, possibly, who knows, maybe the first real cryptocurrency that's taken seriously by multinational governments. And it'll be interesting to see where it goes from this. Let me catch up on the chat here. Robert says, "Yeah, don't ask what Hitler did to the Jews, but what did the Jews do to Germans first?" Absolutely. I mean, and that's one of the things that documentary touched on. He certainly took it a little bit overboard because I don't think all Jews were responsible, of course, and they did end up, you know, being the direct causation of one of the worst genocides in the world, in the history of the world. So. I absolutely don't condone the Holocaust in any way. I don't condone Nazism or the National Socialist Party. But as somebody who appreciates history and who appreciates specifically World War II era history, it disseminated a lot of information in regards to it that really were interesting to me and that I found to really pique my interest at the time. So again, if you guys want to check out stuff that regards that, check out The Greatest Story Never Told. Crazy documentary. Oh yeah, Robert. I know I need to. I was planning on it. It's just like you said, it was about 6.5 hours, and I got pretty tired near about the 4 hour mark, and it was early in the morning, so kind of just passed out on it. But I plan on finishing it. I know that there's more in the end. I'm sure that there was more information to be regarded. The most revealing, I will say this, the most revealing piece of information out of the first 3 hours of that documentary was the transfer agreement. I won't divulge any information about it right now. I'll allow you to go out and do your own independent research into it. But if there's one thing that a lot of people, I believe, don't know about World War II or World War II history or geopolitics of that era, is the relationship between the German Third Reich in the time of World War II, time of early 1930s, and the land of Judea, which was obviously had been newly founded about 20 years before in the early 1930s, and is now modern day Israel. Um, let's see. Let's save this topic for another time. We can get on this subject in another live stream. I have way too many topics to cover tonight, guys. And on top of that, I want to kind of stay on top of the anti-Trump stuff. I think there are more protests planned for tonight, so we're gonna stay on top of that. But we can absolutely save this for another time. Um, let's see. Sainer says the Zionists got the U.S. into World War One and probably World War Two. Aren't the Zionists fake Jews? Like I said, guys, we will handle this another time. We can have a discussion about this another time. Okay. Donald Trump says stop blaming the Jews. They did not do anything wrong. I'm not blaming the Jews, Donald. I'm simply just saying that there was information in that documentary that basically came out to be actually true. Like I said, look up the transfer agreement of around 1933. The German Reich, in those early stages of the formation of the Reich, actually had a trade deal, like an actual immigration policy with the land of Judea, where Jews could leave Germany and retain all of their wealth when leaving Germany, and they were completely all eligible to leave. Germany actually helped finance a lot of their immigration. Obviously, it was racist in nature to want them to. They were basically saying, "Look, we'll help you get out of our country if you just leave." But I'm in no way blaming the Jews at all. So don't take it that way. That's why this is a very sensitive subject, which we will have to cover in another piece, another live stream. So don't. We're not trying to rub you the wrong way. We're not trying to sit here and push any unbiased information. But what is true and what is factual is what I just stated. There was an agreement in the early 1930s by the Germans and the land of Judea, the government, the Zionist world government of Judea at the time, and they actually were allowing Jews to leave Germany in swaths. I think it was somewhere around 1 million to 2 million Jews were allowed to leave and retain their wealth in that time. But again, this is another subject and another topic that I would love to cover with you guys and talk about it. It's absolutely a taboo subject, Saint Earth, just like 9/11. It's very, very taboo, um, and we will save that for another time. But Zcash, back on Zcash. So we'll take a look at this article too by the creator of Zcash. It says, is it possible to be anonymous? Okay. Invisible value exchange is definitely a double edged sword. You gain privacy, which is extremely valuable in the digital environment where there is routine harassment and bullying of people perceived to have, quote unquote, too much wealth. At the same time, this same technology, which can protect a person from being bullied, can enable bullies to be bullies for hire, effectively turning electronic harassment into a trade or business. In the case where it is mercenaries for hire, something like Zcash would allow a very wealthy individual to turn the tables on freedom fighters, activists, journalists, and developers who get in the way of corporate or state interests. So this technology is very much a double-edged sword, a two-way street, and whomever has the most money in Bitcoin today may have the most to gain from something like Zcash. Because what's going on with Zcash right now is if you do have Bitcoins to trade, you can actually, it's very easily done to trade them over into Zcash. We'll go ahead and come over to this article real quick, and this is on this is Bitcoin Magazine. This is a magazine that was created. We covered this also in our last live stream. So if you guys want any information about that, you can just go back. No, it's cool, man. We leave the chat. You know, it's no big deal. People can come in and they'll talk and they'll discuss whatever they want to. There's not much I can do about it. It says in January, Bitcoin Magazine reported that a public alpha technology preview of Zcash, quote unquote, a decentralized and open source cryptocurrency that aims to set a new standard for privacy and anonymity through the use of groundbreaking cryptography, has been released on GitHub. And for those of you that don't know, GitHub is actually an open sourced website where software developers, website developers, program developers, app developers for different modern technology, like iPhones, iPads, smartphones, all that good stuff. They can actually go on GitHub, and from any location in the world through the access of GitHub, as long as you have internet access, you can work together and actually program and develop software from any place in the world. It's a very interesting website. It's very cool. If anybody is involved in that, I highly suggest it and for you to go check it out. So it goes on to say Zcash offers total payment confidentiality while maintaining a decentralized network using a public blockchain. Unlike Bitcoin, Zcash transactions automatically hide the sender, recipient, and value of all transactions on the blockchain. Only those with the correct view can see the content. So again, the only people who are allowed to see the absolute contents, which is going to involve the product or services traded and the amount of Zcash traded corresponding to the product or service, is going to be the people who hold the correct view keys. And that, in this case, would be, for instance, Robert and I, if we were trading together. So that's very interesting to know, and it's very also, like this article is already laid out, a double-edged sword, because it can leave a lot to be a lot of people already understand that cash is hard enough to follow and trace back to people involved in certain organizations, certain corporations, people of interest, like it was saying here, people who want to, and corporate entities who want to fight back against, freedom fighters, activists. This is going to give them complete anonymity from ever being discovered as the sole provider of said funds to whatever they're trying to accomplish. So while Zcash, is a very promising prospect in regards to cryptocurrency and the future of world economies, it's also it has huge implications regarding abuse and overusage by those who are already very super wealthy, people like George Soros, for instance. See, Robert's saying, I'm counting on a worldwide currency reset with a nasty collapse first, so I'm investing in brass, lead, and powder. Hey, I hear you, man. And I don't think we have to explain why you're doing that. That's actually another topic I was going to go on to. Investing in raw asset, investing in literally mineral wealth. And, brass, lead, and powder is exactly what that is. It's mineral wealth. It's something that can be reused. It's something that can be provided for multiple different facets of usage, and industrial-wise, or just even as a bartering good. But mainly gold and silver, obviously, and for the longest time have always been the main source of trading and obviously building world and international economies, national economies. Treasuries have for thousands of years been based off of this. And there have been kings, and throughout history, obviously, there's people who go back that you can go and research. Who, especially like King Askia, for instance, of the Songhai Empire in northwestern Africa. I believe it went through the areas of Nigeria, Chad, and Algeria. Very, very sprawling empire. He was one. I think out of any empire in the world, he accumulated more gold than anyone else in the world. So he's a very interesting character in regards to raw asset um, garnering. Robert says defense. Yeah, absolutely. So you can make bullets, right? Got to protect my food and silver. I hear you, man. And we're going to go a little bit into that further after we continue on about Zcash. So switching back to this Steemit article, which is written by, let me give the credits here where it's due, by Dana Edwards. 5 months ago in the crypto news section of Steemit. She goes on to explain that the problem with being totally anonymous, if you are totally anonymous, then you have no reputation. Oh, sorry, I missed some right here, didn't I? Let me go back. Under it is it possible to be too anonymous? So this technology is very much a double-edged sword, a two-way street, and whomever has the money in Bitcoin today may have the most to gain from something like Zcash. Note, a lot of Bitcoins, DAO, and other tokens have been stolen by hackers, and at some point this money is going to be spent or needs somewhere to go. Zcash, with its interesting properties, will be the most attractive to black hats and similar hackers who today might be using Bitcoin. That's the problem with Bitcoin, and that's why Zcash looks so promising because, for instance, like I just said, complete anonymity. Once these hackers and these black hat hackers steal these Bitcoins from people in the DAO, which is a new cryptocurrency I've never been completely exploited to, so we will look into that as well. They take their Bitcoins, their DAO, or whatever other tokens, online cryptocurrency that they have stolen, and they'll actually implement it and flux it in basically, for all intents and purposes, digitally wash, or in other words, launder. Okay, so digitally laundering the stolen money that they took out of somebody's Bitcoin wallet, for instance, because there are exploits still in Bitcoin that can be abused by many hackers all over the world, very experienced people in their fields, and they're going to flux them into the Zcash, okay? And then once that is done, there's no known exploits on Zcash right now. There's no way for somebody that was stolen from to go and link it back to this hacker or that hacker. When as hard as that already is, as tough of a maze to navigate through as that already is, this is just going to make it harder. So it goes on to say, if you are totally anonymous, then you have no reputation. If you are pseudo-anonymous, then you have a reputation. Money isn't really as useful without a good reputation attached to it, and as a participant in society, Zcash probably will not improve the social status of its users. On the other hand, it is possible that Zcash can over time adopt features which allow for pseudo-anonymous reputation to be attached to it. But if Zcash develops a stigma around it, then people who have good reputations could end up staying away from it, and then it could end up being one of those currencies people are embarrassed to use in public. That's absolutely true. While she's very right about that, we also have to keep in mind and consider that with complete anonymity, there's going to be people with reputations that have so much money that it doesn't really matter, what is publicly known about their exchanging or whatever, because when it comes to Zcash, no one will ever know. So they're going to be such wealthy individuals who end up using Zcash in the future that it's going to become popular inevitably, and it will become popular to those who want complete privacy and security when it comes to saving and incurring online data, especially regarding their private bank accounts, their money online. This is going to be the one I believe that people go to, and right now the turnover for Zcash is pretty enormous. Let's look into this real quick so you guys can get a good idea. See, a lot of these websites are going to be in Eastern European of some type right now. It's looking like I can't find it. One of our friends, 629, let's see, was discussing this the other night, and he or she gave a very good estimate of what the turnover for it is. But if it gives you any idea, I can't really explain it right now. I'm not that very efficiently researched on this topic yet. But from what I understand, one of my good friends who was a very large proponent in making Bitcoin popular throughout my area and in the area of North Carolina and the Southeast, my friend Machiavelli, he told me that if I wanted to invest, say, $1,000 into Zcash, in somewhere between 2 to 3 years, it could net me anywhere between $4,000 to $5,000. So that's almost not almost quadruple what your initial investment is. So it's good stuff. Very, very good stuff. Saint Earth says, I own lots of copper, bronze, and silver, not on paper but physical metal. Mr. J says, ha ha ha, welcome, Mr. J. Hey, Alan, glad you're here, man. Been meaning to, wanted to apologize to you. I was a complete twat in that last live stream, man. Um, I hate the way I acted towards the topic when we were discussing that last live stream. So I'm glad you're back, man. I hope you're here to stay with us for a little while. We got some good topics tonight, and I again want to apologize sincerely. Alan says, I'm back. The problem with Bitcoin is there is no intrinsic value of it. The price is a matter of speculation only. If a major flaw is found in Bitcoin, the value will plummet instantly. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And in our last live stream, we discussed the bubble around 2010. I believe it was around August of 2010. There was a huge exploit of it where somebody basically manipulated right around 180 billion Bitcoins. And that obviously inflated the actual real value of it to a point to where everybody deinvested, quickly got uninvolved, and then it's taken it right up till now, 2017, to actually get back to a point to where it's stabilized again. But yeah, we're actually talking about Zcash, not Bitcoin. But in regards to people with Bitcoin and who have mass amounts of Bitcoin, it's saying basically that right now with the security of Zcash, because there are no known exploits of Zcash right now. Um, there are going to be so many Bitcoin users that end up fluxing their Bitcoins over to Zcash that this is going to be the most popular cryptocurrency within the next year or two. So it's definitely something to keep your eye on if you are interested in cryptocurrencies and investing in cryptocurrencies. This is a particular cryptocurrency which I think, like I was saying before, will become one of the most widely used and widely regarded concerning total security and total anonymity with your money. So it's a very it's specifically a very speculative um, uh, economic sorry, currency. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying here. Sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. But obviously, it's all based on speculation. It's all based on how the trading is. But in regards to Zcash, it's the same type of system, but more efficient in regards to Bitcoin. Mr. J says, What happens if there's no power?" Well, I'm glad you bring that up, Mr. J, because that actually brings me on to my next topic, which is raw assets. Okay, and that's going to be stuff like mineral wealth. Okay, obviously things that cannot be synthetically reproduced. Gold, silver, bronze, brass. Well, not brass. Well, I guess brass could be considered. That's copper and brass put together. Wait, isn't it? No, wait. Brass is copper and what is it? Copper and something else. I forget. But yeah, we'll get on to that right now. Let's see. Wait. Mineral wealth. Okay, so mineral wealth obviously is going to be, like I said, stuff like gold, stuff like, uh, oil, clay, wax, water, obviously being a mineral to a certain extent. Anything that is not you're not able to synthetically reproduce. Mainly, it's going to be your gold and silver, particularly. And when it comes to that, our economies wants the power if there's not any. Copper and tin. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate you, man. Once everything is. Oh, so there's 6 to Q9. Zcash is tanking. Is it really? Can you give us an update on it? Something that's going to talk about it in relative to now, like today in recent times. Uh, I know you said you were going to invest in it, so I hope you didn't. 6 to and thank you for joining. Um, let's see. Robert said, "I heard Iran already dropped the dollar, and you know what happens when you drop the dollar? Shit goes boom." Yeah, no doubt about that. That's what Libya was trying to do when they nationalized their treasury. See, Let's see. Saint Earth says brass equals copper plus zinc or other silver alloy. Thanks, Saint. Appreciate you, man. Um, 6 to 9 says Zcash was worth 185 November 14th. Now only 37. Okay, so obviously, it's going to be just like any other cryptocurrency. It's going to have very, like our friend Alan said, it's going to be very speculatively based, all according to the trading of it. But still, I would say that even just as Bitcoin had that rise here at the beginning of the end of 2016, right around November, we're going. Who knows? We may see. I'm not going to say we are, but we may see a rise in Zcash as well. It just all depends. Do you know why that is, 6 to 2? Mr. J says invest in guns and ammo. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm certainly a proponent of that as well. People should be allowed to protect themselves and to protect their resources and their property. And when it comes to that, weapons and ammo are certainly the best way to go about it. 6 to 9 says it's either going to bottom out and rise or keep dropping to nothing. Well, like I said, let's keep our eyes on it. Especially, I know you will, 6 to 9, because you obviously, out of all our viewers, are somebody who trades and invests in the cryptocurrency world. And I appreciate your input on that. So thank you. Saint Earth says I use copper plus silicon, Everdor silicon bronze. Okay, so that's to make brass. Robert says corn, sugar, yeast, water, and fire will make a nice little antiseptic. Good information, Robert. Thank you so much. Okay, 6 to 9. Thank you, man. Thanks for keeping us up to date on it. I really appreciate it. But as you know, that was basically the end of what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to get on some mineral wealth, but the rise of gold and silver, the speculation that this is going to be one of those years where we see gold and silver vastly and dramatically rise in value. So, wait, whoops. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, folks. Got all these tabs open. It gets confusing. So let's see here. Kitco.com has a price outlook here. Gold forecast for 2017, silver forecast. Okay, Investing Haven. We'll go and look here. How's the quality, guys? It looks a little bit shoddy on my end. Actually, never mind. It was just because it was on 240. All right, so here we go on investinghaven.com. It's saying gold price forecast for 2017. Gold was hot in the first 6 months of this year. Hardly anyone predicted the monster rally we saw in 2016. And as it always goes, right at the time when that everyone got overly excited, gold prices stalled and did go nowhere since then. Consequently, around summertime, there was a consensus around a bullish gold price forecast for 2017. And with this, it brings the speculation, like Robert was saying earlier, that that the dollar may fall. There's all this speculation right now that here in the next few months we're going to see not only has Iran evidently dropped the dollar, but evidently there's other countries who are expressing interest in dropping the dollar. Mainly China has expressed some interest, and I can see that being a high probability, especially with the hostile tension right now between the Trump administration and the Chinese government. 6 to 9 suggests to buy silver right now, and that's obviously silver is what they call poor man's gold. Silver's prices are going up steadily, if I'm not mistaken, and at a pretty the average price steadily is rising each and every day. So let's look at the silver forecast too. We'll go back and read a little bit more about gold though. As always, we prefer to stick to the facts when we derive the chart developments as well as sentiment analysis and intermarket dynamics. We see a concerning trend developing on the gold chart. The green circles on below chart highlight the rare periods of price stabilization. Gold is a volatile asset, which means basically people will either buy in an abundance or they will just dump it in an abundance. So that's what it means. It's volatile. Generally, silver is more stable. It doesn't fluctuate too much because people don't buy in such huge volumes and they don't dump it in such huge volumes like they do gold. So it does not happen often that the prices stabilize. In December of 2015, the price of gold stabilized, which was an indicator that a reversal was brewing. Right now, we see the same thing happening. Both happened right a major. I think that meant to say both happened right before a major support and resistance. How to determine a gold price forecast for 2017? Let's go and look at the graph. So, as we can see here, this is gold in regards to, I believe, the month and the years. And then this is on the side, the prices. So you're going to see right here, it's stabilized here in the past few months around 1,300, actually right under 1,400 and right below $1,300. So it's staying in between $1,300 and $1,400 an ounce, if I'm not mistaken, which means, like it's saying here, that there is a major reversal about to see. So it says, where do we see the price of gold going in 2017? We start sensing that gold will continue to as a fear asset in 2017, basically meaning people are going to buy in abundance because of fears that economies will collapse, mainly the U.S. dollar. Given that stock markets, which we consider an important risk indicator, are becoming very bullish, as suggested in quote unquote the S&P 500 suggests much higher prices coming in 2016 and 2017. Gold could take a hit as fear is moving away from the markets. In the early days of 2016, markets were driven by fear, which is the reason gold rallied so strongly, but that has changed recently. So obviously, as our friend 629 said, buy silver. It's more stabilized. It's not as much of a fluctuation in price range, and more than likely it will continue to rise. More than likely, gold will continue to see an influx in actual price development. Um, Alan wanted to know if how do you know if the silver you're buying is genuine? Robert says that makes grain alcohol. By the way, thanks for letting us know that, Robert. In case we need to make some home brew. 62Q9 says it's 99.999% silver and tested for purity. I think there's actually a method by which a lot of traders and gold and silver buyers do it. I think it's a specific mineral piece that they rub it on, and if it leaves like a trace amount or something in a particular color is how they tell if it's actually pure or not. I could be mistaken. 6 to Q, you could possibly let us know more about that. Sainer says the silver I buy is stamped with purity. Since I actually melt down and use the silver to make product, I can tell if it's not pure. 6 to Q9 says currency of the rich is gold. For the common man, it's silver. For the poor, it's debt. Yes, unfortunately, that could not be any more truer. 6 to Q. Hey Nomo, thanks for joining us, man. Glad you can make it. Alan Partridge says, but what are they going to use instead of the dollar? Swiss francs is all that I can think that will be stable enough in the near future, but there's not a great deal of those in circulation. Well, that's the thing. That's where they think that these cryptocurrencies may come into play, especially with everything seeming more digitized. But there's obviously a lot of speculation around that as well. We can't say for sure what will replace physical currency. We're already seeing places like India recall much of their currency because they believe there was a lot of fake currency in circulation that they wanted to get rid of. Of course, that is also of speculation. Whoops, I just broke my pen. And let's see what goes on else in the chat. Robert says Trump will pull an Andrew Jackson, kick the central bankers out, and start over. The question is, will the other nations want to try again? Well, let's keep in mind, Robert, after Andrew Jackson, there was Abraham Lincoln who tried to meddle with the central bank of the United States of America. And then there was also John F. Kennedy, and we know what happened to them. So we'll see. We'll leave it open for the future to behold for us. Silver price forecast for 2017. Silver is breaking down similar to gold and miners. That does not bode well for the price of silver in 2017. How deep could silver fall in 2017? That is the question we try to answer in this article. Silver's breakdown should not come as a surprise, as we warned our readers already 2 months ago that silver was on the verge of correcting, but just weeks after the Brexit frenzy. We do realize that we were a lonely voice, as evidenced by Bloomberg's bullish silver article, Keith Neumeyer's 9-bagger prediction for silver's price, the expectation for a bullish silver price after the Brexit. The Daily Bell came out with a fundamental argumentation on why the price of silver must go higher. All that is fine, but serious investors should realize what it is. It's media. So basically what that means is they're trying to stimulate the price by saying, hey, it's going to be okay, buy more silver. Media articles are not a solid basis for smart investments. Our analysis revealed a red flag for silver when the gray metal hit this triple resistance point, which is visible on its long-term chart. Let's be honest. A triple resistance point is not a coincidence, and it should be taken very seriously. I don't know much about triple resistance points. If anybody in here knows anything about that, please, we'd like to know more about it. Since then, silver's 2016 rally has stalled, and as a consequence, it has resulted in a stiff correction this week. We believe this correction has more downside potential. How low could silver fall in 2017? The answer is very simple. By examining silver's chart, we can derive a first obvious target of $15 to be reached somewhere in the first months of 2017. In case that support area would be breached, we would say that the most bearish scenario would result in a $10 silver price. We do not expect silver to fall as low as $10 in 2017, but don't exclude it either for the same reasons outlined in our gold price 2017 forecast. The alternative bearish target would be $12, an example of the 2007 and 2009 lows. Short term, the $15 target is as good as a fact. So what they're saying right now, it looks like it's hovering right at about $17 an ounce, if I'm not mistaken. I can hardly tell according to this graph. Let's see if I can pull up a better graph of it. Yeah, it's hovering right at 17.34 an ounce, right between 16 and 18. They say, as according to this article, obviously it says that it could have reached 20 before falling back down to potentially 15 or even 10. Here it says, silver's 2016 rally stalled at the 2008 highs, which coincided with the two other several secular trend lines, notably the 2012 and 2013 bear market trend line. With the primary 2017 market trend, in parentheses rising rates, our intermarket analysis suggests that silver will retrace in 2017 to $15. If that does not hold, silver would be eyeing $9 an ounce, which is a huge downfall. But right now it's still relatively cheap. It's still an asset worth putting your money into, and honestly, anything other than the American dollar is worth investing in right now. So that's the reason why we're covering these topics. And if you guys want to talk more about them, please let me know in the chat what other questions you may have. Maybe our viewers can help us with it. Maybe I can just go ahead and Google it. Maybe I might know something. But pretty much what this whole point of this short segment here is about cryptocurrencies and raw assets, mineral wealth, is start thinking about maybe because of the speculation that we may see a dollar collapse. We're definitely going to see it fall in value, even though we're seeing high investments and trading in Wall Street in record-breaking sessions, which is also another topic that this leads me into, is the record-setting Wall Street numbers. So let's go ahead and get into that and why that's happening. And it's not only because of Donald Trump. Before we do that, let's go ahead and check Periscope and see if we've got anything regarding those Donald Trump anti-Trump deals. I hate it when I break my pen. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing here. Okay, well, it's good to know that these people have taken a break. Anything in Brazil? Good point, Alan. I remember there was something going on there, I think last night, wasn't it? I don't see anything right now. We'll go on Facebook live map. Check it out real quick. Can certainly do that. Give me 1 second, folks. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it when you break your pen and the little thing goes flying somewhere you'll never find it again. Just hope my dog doesn't get a hold of it. Alright. So let's see. We're over here in Brazil. We're gonna check it out, see if we got anything going on. If it wants to load. Okay, it's playing TV down there. I guess that's how some people watch TV in Brazil. I would imagine that it was probably in Sao Paulo, right? Maybe Salvador. Nope. I got to be careful with some of these live streams. I actually had some copyright claims again not too long ago, and that LGBT dance party that we covered about last week sometime. Some of the songs they were playing, actually, of course, YouTube recognized them in the background somehow, and it just fucking gave me a damn copyright claim, but it's okay. It's not going to take the video down or anything, and you can go back and watch them if you want to. So thank God for that. Nope. Nope. I don't think that's going to be anything. Victoria, is that where it was? It's Belo Horizonte. I'm not sure where Victoria is to in regards to Brazil as the country. There's Manaus. See, maybe I can just look it up. Of course, it pulls me right out of the live map. It's really annoying. I don't believe there's going to be anything going on in Vitoria right now. Those protests seem pretty. They were police protests, if I'm not mistaken, right, Alan? Let's go back and check on the chat. See, Trump. Okay, yeah, we read that. If it goes down to $10, I'm loading the boat if I can find it. I hope you're right. Rob says Saint Earth. Alan Parcher says anything in Brazil. That's what we're checking on. 60Q9 says buying gold and silver is putting money in the bank. It's saving. It's not designed for someone to profit on. Exactly right, 60Q9. It's your future that you're investing in. You're investing in the possibility of anything. So regardless if it goes down or up, you're still going to have something that people will always want. People will always be trading and buying and be interested in and bartering with you over. So it's a good thing to do. 60Q9 says waiting until it drops to X amount is kind of pointless in my opinion. I agree. Let's see. So let's look and see if we can find anything going on in Vitoria, Brazil. Oops. So it looks like it might be the area. Let's see here. Looks like it's near Rio de Janeiro. Could be wrong. Okay, Vitoria is. If it ever loads. Okay, looks like it's smack dab in the middle. It's not going to be that far north. Yep, there it is. It's going to be right here. Pelotas. This looked like what it was. Maybe not. Because this is right on the border of Uruguay, so. Could be in the wrong spot. Okay, so it's a little bit north of Rio de Janeiro, so I'm definitely not around it right now. Let's see here. This could be it right up here. Yeah, here it is. I don't think we're going to find anything tonight, Alan. But I did catch those that you were speaking about, some of the live streams of those protests in Brazil, and talk about crazy. People were losing it. People were absolutely losing it. We'll keep our eyes open on the Facebook there. If you guys haven't liked me on Facebook, if you want to, you can go do that. Let's see. Robert says, I'm hoping the rumor about the 70 arrest warrants over Pedogate is true and the speculation about certain individuals in government offing themselves happens. I heard about that as well, Robert, and it's not on our topic list tonight, but we can definitely talk about it after we get over some of these other topics. Sandra says, metals are a way of inflation control. And 6-2-9 says exactly the downside or upside, depending on one's views, is that each person has to physically hold it and protect it. Absolutely. That's where the guns and ammo comes in. See, Alan says Army had to come in as the police were on a strike and anarchy had broken out. 70 dead. Good God, that's that you don't see that anywhere in the news media today. And I've been all over many news channels today as well. So it's unfortunate. I hate to hear that. 62Q9 says it's always easy to put the value of gold and silver on homeowners insurance or even renters insurance. That's very worthy information of noting. Thank you, 62Q9. Saint Earth says I love the idea of streaming other shit storms happening on the planet. Good one, Alan. Yeah, well, unfortunately, we're not finding anything right now. If we can hear of any reports going on, we will certainly get on top of them. I can look that up right now. We'll see if we can find anything. See, 2 days ago, 10 hours ago, monument to Aleppo opens to protest in Dresden. That's going to be in Germany. Romania protest. Oh, says Romania may be in another protest. Let's go and check it out. Now, wouldn't it be something if we didn't see any live streams from Romania? Wow, could it be? Yep, it's looking like it. It's looking like all live streams are down in Romania right now. Um, Honestly, there's no surprise there. The country's it's saying that. Let's cover this right quick. Romania protests endure as president says country is in crisis. People gather for a protest in Bucharest, Romania, Tuesday, February 7, 2017. Romania's president Klaus Iohannis told lawmakers Tuesday that the country is in fully fledged political crisis after hundreds of thousands of demonstrated against a government measure which would weaken the country's anti-corruption drive. Bucharest, Romania, as is according to AP sources. Romania's president told lawmakers Tuesday, we've already read that, in an address to parliament. President Klaus, a critic of the 2-month-old government, said the majority of Romanians now believe the country was going in the wrong direction. Quote unquote, Romania needs a government that is transparent, which governs predictability by the light of day, not sneakily at night, the president said, referring to the late hour the government passed an emergency ordinance last week aimed at decriminalizing some forms of official corruption. So the move, which bypassed Parliament, was not signed off by Iohannis, who has limited powers, ignited the biggest protest seen since communism ended in the country in 1989. As a result, the government will now seek to introduce the plan in Parliament. Okay, well, if that's the case, and we can't find anything on there, let's look on Periscope. Let's see, that's 9 hours ago. Not seeing anything. This is 4 days ago, 5 days ago, 6 days ago. Maybe this has something. Let's see here. Alan says it's 3:30 in the morning in Romania. They've been protesting most nights. They normally go home at about midnight. I saw a few things earlier on. No one fighting there. Okay, well, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, it looks like it's probably already over. Too early in the morning. So we'll get on back on that. We'll check on the protest footage if we can find anything here in a little bit. Again, appreciate you guys joining in with me, and it's always a pleasure sitting here and discussing these topics with you guys. The next thing I wanted to discuss, maybe if it's too taboo, you guys let me know, but the possibility of World War III, which ties in with our previous segment that we just discussed involving cryptocurrencies, involving possible decline of not only the American dollar but other Western currencies and economies. But what do you guys think about the possibility of World War III? I want to go ahead and get on some of that right now. We're going to pull this one over here. And what we are going to do is read from a website that doesn't want to completely be one-sided. So we don't have many choices here, unfortunately. Let's see, nationalinterest.org. Let's check this one out. 5 places World War III could start in 2017. And obviously, I have a lot of these countries already written down in the topics area. but we're going to go ahead and read this article just to get an idea. This is written by Robert Farley, December 17th, 2016. Obviously, this was last year, so not very up to date. It's not really what we're looking for. This is 6 days ago. This is from the LombardiLetter.com. Let's check this one out. If it would ever load. So the Lombardi Letter, this is an article written by Alessandro Bruno, February 1st, 2017. We are closer to World War III than we think. The article entails, these could be the first, well, here, exactly what we were talking about. 30-year-old stock market firm with history of accurate predictions now forecast the great crash of 2017. Who knows, folks? We may see it in our lifetime, absolutely, for sure. Not absolutely for sure, but absolutely a possibility. Sorry, I didn't mean to just bluntly say that. That's my opinion. We are closer to World War III than we think. These could be the first shots of World War III. President Donald Trump's executive order against travelers from 7 majority Muslim countries, we already know about that, has led many to start fearing the beginning of World War III. But there may be evidence that World War III has already started. If you ask me, yes, it has. There's even someone who has been wanting it. The so-called revolution in Ukraine, it's more of a Russia-Ukraine war in practice, has served as a Trojan horse to launch just a thing. Indeed, while we debate what World War III is, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, otherwise known as NATO, has started to amass troops in the Baltic countries. These are former Soviet states that border Russia's European side. Meanwhile, the Syrian war, masked as a war on ISIS, was a war to destroy Syria, aka a key Russian ally. In other words, all the major international military events of 2016 may have been a part of a plan to encircle Russia. Many of these geopolitical events have focused on the Middle East, a region of the world that happens to be rather close to Russia. Thus, even the U.S. treaty with Iran and the failed coup in Turkey were also part of this strategy. We might call it a Russia-World War III strategy. But Russia has already won this war. It won it on the battlefield in Syria, achieving key objectives in the liberation of Aleppo from obscurantist forces who claim to be rebels. And of course, those are going to be your quote-unquote moderate rebels, whatever you want to call them. I call them extremist jihadists, who obviously we were funding and supplying in the area of Syria. Especially in Syria and around it. Putin may have already won the first round of World War III. More importantly, Russia has won the first round of World War III by unofficially backing the winning candidate in the U.S. presidential elections. Russian President Vladimir Putin has struck the right chords with the American isolationist and protectionist Trump presidency. Putin did this before the outcome of the November vote. However, he noticed, or may have even influenced, the fact that Trump shares common interests. Better than the U.S. media, moreover, Putin read the popular anger at the liberal establishment correctly. The Putin World War III was not won in a way that liberal pundits like Rachel Maddow like to perpetrate, as in fabled Russian hackers allegedly rigging the U.S. presidential vote. So then it goes on to say, rather, the situation is that the Democratic Party machine and the mainstream media have lost. They were so sure of Hillary Clinton election win that the Clinton campaign did not even bother to visit key states. It was arrogance that hurt the Democratic machine. Excuse me. There's a lot of truth to this article so far, but it does seem like this is a very opinionated article, so we're not going to go too much farther in it. I don't give a flying dog ass about that. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. EMP, Robert says, is the possibility to start World War III. 62 says, from who? Nomo says us, and I'm guessing that means the U.S. Robert says, EMP would be hard to prove, and it would be very effective to put out a fire. Alan Partridge says, I wonder what inflation will be like under Trump. If he puts the trade tariffs on imports, the initial shock will cause high inflation, but will stabilize soon after as workers' wages catch up. If he goes to war with Iran, inflation will spiral as the war would be costly and last at least 2 years. Yes, absolutely, but then the question comes in is, what do we do with Iran once we defeat them? If that's the situation that ends up happening, which it's looking like we may go to war with Iran, especially under the Trump administration. World War III possibilities that I have noted here. Obviously, we just read a little bit about Russia. We all know about the war in Ukraine and the escalation there in the past few weeks after the Minsk II agreement has not really been working out for either side. We read reports revealing that it was mainly Ukrainian aggression towards Russia. But then again, how do we know that's not just state-sponsored propaganda from Russia? Very hard to decipher all this stuff, and that's why we're here to talk about it. Other possibilities that I have written down, of course, and this is something I've talked about in my previous live streams, the possible war with China. Okay, now that possibility seems to be like it's becoming realized. Let's see. This is U.S. Today 1 day ago. This is U.S.-China war would be a disaster for world. This is Communist Party. We'll check it out. It's The Guardian, even though they're kind of biased. We'll go and look at it. The Guardian goes on to put out something on the 24th there. Not very much updated stuff. Okay, so it says in The Guardian, this is from a day ago. A military conflict between the U.S. and China would spell disaster for the world, the Communist Party's official mouthpiece has warned. In its first pronouncement on ties between the world's two largest economies since Donald Trump moved into the White House, we're the United, where the, I guess I mean to say where, oh, sorry, no. Were the United States and China to wage war on one another, the whole world would divide itself. The People's Daily newspaper argued in a commentary, paraphrasing Henry Kissinger, the veteran U.S. diplomat whose secret mission to China led to the historic rapprochement behind Richard Nixon and Mao Zedong in '72. Fears of a potentially calamitous trade war or even a military clash between the two nuclear powers have been building since Trump's shock election win last November. Trump repeatedly criticized China on the campaign trail and has continued to ruffle Chinese feathers since his unexpected victory, using television interviews and Twitter to challenge Beijing on issues including trade, Taiwan, and the South China Sea. Steve Bannon, Trump's influential chief strategist, was last week reported to have warned last year that war between the U.S. and China and the resource-rich waterway was inevitable. So basically, we already have rhetoric coming from Steve Bannon, which is Trump's top chief strategist and one of his top advisors, is quoted as saying last year that the war between U.S. and China is completely unavoidable, considering the fact that I believe that Trump's administration does want to retain some of the hegemonic seat that the U.S. has worked so hard and put itself in the front lines of just about each and every conflict and engagement between varying political parties and ideologies throughout the world, but also wants to hold on to that wealth that we've worked so hard to build a revenue upon. So what do you guys think? Let's go back into the chat and read. 60Q9 says, you're talking about EMP as an electromagnetic pulse. Robert says, whoever it affects better have some permeative skills. Robert goes on to say, yes, Electro, you're right. 60Q9 says, that takes high altitude nuclear detonations, precise detonations to be effective. Alan Partridge says, I wouldn't say it's a World War III, but more a continuation of the Cold War after the 20-year break. Russia is not too concerned yet to need to lash at to ensure its survival. I agree, Alan. I don't think it's going to directly lead to World War III, but I think that intervention with Syria, continual intervention with Syria, engagements there. I think if we do go to war with Iran, and obviously, Russia has other allies and ties with the countries in that area that, America necessarily isn't on the best of terms with. So if we were to go and retaliate, like I said, against Iran, even a country like Jordan or something that borders with Israel, which would seem very unlikely, but you never know, or just any other Middle Eastern countries, we could see that as a perception of Russia continuing to see an encirclement by U.S. troops, kind of like, for instance, what happened in, what was it, was it 39 or 40 or 41 when Hitler decided to invade Russia, Operation Barbarossa? It's just it's a sticky scenario, and I can't say for sure right now that it will be a direct causation towards World War III. But I definitely think that if things continue the way they are, we end up at war with Iran, we end up at war with other Middle Eastern countries, then we ultimately end up at war with China. There's no choice for Russia than to intervene and to step in, because not only is all that have implications towards the Russian economy and the development of Russian superpower, but it's going to directly open up for an opportunity for more economic power to be had by America in a region where not only does China want more power, but obviously, like I said, Russia does as well. So it's an interesting topic. Um, let's see. You guys are saying not only 62Q9 says not only that standard nuclear weapons don't produce EMPs effectively due to the casing materials. It takes specifically designed bombs, precise detonations, and the target area is still limited. 62Q9 says EMPs are also the least effective way to wipe out a military force. Alan Partridge says an EMP would affect the U.S. more than China due to the reliance on computers. Also, China has the capability to reproduce the chips, something the U.S. often relies on China for. You're absolutely right, Alan. They're mass producing these chips. They're mass producing these electronic and digital weapons, which a lot of companies here in the U.S. are thriving on as well as abroad. Um, Robert says Russia loves them some Iran. Very true. They share the Caspian Sea, don't they? Normo says the EU is supporting the terrorists in Syria from the beginning. I wouldn't doubt it. 60Q9 says I have no effect. AMPs have no effect on military hardware. Alan Partridge says the U.S. invading Iran would be similar to Germany invading Poland. I agree. 60Q9 says while an iPhone might burn out, it's not an effective means of in quotations, war. Saint Earth says like the U.S. invading Iraq. Very true as well. Robert says there's more to life than a nation's military. A well-executed EMP would wreck a nation's general population. Well, and if there were many EMPs utilized in various large metropolitan areas like L.A., New York, Florida, cities in Florida, um, Atlanta, Philadelphia, cities like that, um, then you're gonna if they were put into positions where they were strategically located near infrastructural places, places where power sources would be located, you're gonna see some crazy shit go down, no doubt. You're gonna see a country go into complete and utter chaos. Absolutely. But with that being said, we also had North Korea as a possibility as well, and Iran as well. We've talked a lot about Iran. We've talked about China. We've talked about Russia. North Korea obviously is not is they're on the least. They're the last on the list here that I've written. They're the least to worry about. When it comes to them, they're technologically advanced in some areas, but they're about I would say anywhere from 40 to 50 years behind us. When it comes to advanced armaments. So. Uh, let's see here. Robert says there's okay. I read that. Alan Partridge says it might be rather nice with fewer computers for a few months. Who knows? People might actually benefit from that. You're absolutely right, Alan. 62Q9 says totally overrated. With that being said, guys, I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to go out and use the restroom, grab a drink, get my throat well lubed. I'm going to throw up some music like I usually do. Let's see if I can get it going here. All right, guys, going to take a break real quick. Going to play my favorite song. I know you guys hear it all the time. This is Vanilla with the track Summer. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll be right back. Okay, folks, we are back. Sorry for the short break there. I needed to run out and go do my thing real quick, fresh up. So, we're getting back on it. I hope everybody's still with us here. We just got done discussing the possibilities and the road to World War III. So we're going to move on from that topic to some other stuff here. Let me catch up on the chat real quick. Let's see here. Of course, let me go over those tracks. That first track was Vanilla with artist Vanilla with the track Summer. The second track was Know the Feeling by Shag, and then this track that just played was by Flamingosis, and the title of the track is called Football Head. I play them all the time. I'm sure you guys are getting tired of hearing them, so I have to find some new tracks to play that aren't copyrighted. So let's get back to it. You guys said Donald Trump said, "Are there any riots?" I don't know. Let's go back and check. Let's get on it and make sure. Let's see, riots. I doubt there's riots. Riot. Stuff from last night, it looks like, but so far nothing regarding protest, rallies, demonstrations, or riots. Let's see, anti-Trump. Go through all these little keywords that I've been using to find stuff. Let's see, rally. Yep, not finding it. Nothing right now, folks, so we're going to move on to our other topics here. Saint says there was a riot in my pants, then I released it. Well, I hear you. That's was the same situation for me. That's why I had to take a little bit of a break there to go and handle that riot. But we're all good now. So let's get on to another topic or two, and then I'm going to call it a night. We'll get back on tomorrow night, same time. Let's see here. Covered that. Covered Zcash. Covered that. One thing I did want to get into was I just wanted to briefly cover this. This is a website that I use when I want to just know about current events regarding geopolitics or like relations with various countries. Just general geopolitics. This is a great group to go and look at on. Just Google them. They're called the Eurasian Report. Sorry, the Eurasian Group. I apologize. Eurasian Group. These guys, they're pretty good about disseminating just totally unbiased, honest, raw reporting in regards to geopolitical ties with the varying Western and Eastern nations. It says right here is the description for them. Eurasia Group is the world's largest political risk consultancy. Founded in 1998 by Ian Bremmer, it has offices in New York City, Washington, D.C., London, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, San Francisco, Singapore, and has more than 150 full-time employees. So, and their little motto here is politics first. Robert, no, it was not like chocolate cake and firecrackers in the toilet, thank God. It was just one hell of a piss. And then I had to go eat some peanuts and some crackers. So it was good stuff. But then 6-9 goes on to say, I'm expecting the education secretary nomination to cause a problem with teachers. Expecting teachers to protest and walk out, just a thought. Well, that's a high probability, 6-9. Definitely a high probability for public schools. But as it stands, like teachers here in North Carolina, they really can't afford to protest at the rate of which they're being paid. The average wage of a teacher here in North Carolina is somewhere around, right around anywhere between 20, I'm going to say 21,000 to tops 24,000 a year. And that's not a whole hell of a lot considering the amount of work that those people do. They only get about, I think, 3 to 4 months of their very full-time jobs off. Usually they pull about anywhere close to 60 to 80 hours a week, most teachers in public schools. So they definitely are underpaid and definitely are underrepresented, especially so by the federal government. And I can see that causing an issue. But who knows? Who knows? We'll definitely keep our eyes open. Oh yeah, the travel ban. That's another topic I had on here. They're doing a ruling on that. Let's go ahead and pull something up about that. Let's see if we can find anything about that too. We'll get on the Eurasian group in just a moment. I think you guys will find it interesting. Whoops, I did not mean to type in Facebook. Obvious where my brain's at right now. Okay, let's see here. Don't want to watch anything on a news channel, particularly with commercials. So let's see here. Travel, ban hearing. All News Nation. Here's the audio. This is 53 minutes ago. Let's see, hopefully this isn't TV.
Drug costs are going to go up on average.
Oh, this is that damn Bernie Sanders, Ted Cruz town hall shit.
Diabetes, with serious mental illness. You will.
Like, who even set this up? What is this shit? Why do these two people need to be debating each other about anything?
At all, because you have a pre-existing condition. And by the way, women are considered.
Where's Franklin at? You mean Franklin, Kentucky? Robert? 6 to Q9, Fox News headlines as any moment now. Well, we'll definitely keep our eyes open on it. I totally forgot they were doing this little fucking escapade. Totally fucking stupid. Just absolutely ridiculous. We'll keep our eyes on it. Let me know if you hear anything, 6 to Q9, and we'll get right on it. The picture of those people burning that flag, Alan, I can't tell you for sure. It looks like people who still wanted to be involved in the Soviet Union. But anyways, I was going to look up the Eurasia groups. Top risk of 2017. This gives out a great layout of what to expect in 2017. I read it just about every year. They release it just around every February of every year. And it's always a good little speculation of what to think or what to expect. I don't want to play their video, unfortunately, because we might have some issues with copyrights there. But it says overview. It's been 6 years since we first wrote about the coming G0 world, a world with no global leader. We'll read real quick this paragraph, and then we'll go ahead and actually, we'll see here. We'll go back from the USSR. Shockwaves 25 years out from the Soviet collapse. After the fall of communist Hungary in 1989, many Soviet statues and monuments were immediately removed. They eventually found a home at Memento Park in Budapest. On December 25th, 1991, an exhausted Mikhail Gorbachev sat down at a table before the lens of a single television camera and informed his people they were living in a new world. He resigned as Soviet president, wished his people the best, shuffled the papers before him, and waited for aides to signal that he was off the air. A day later, the Soviet Union was over. To mark the 25th anniversary of the dissolution of the Soviet Union, an event that brought the Cold War to its formal end, which will be written about the impact of this event on Russia, the United States, and the world. But it isn't just the U.S. and Russia still feeling the shockwaves. The team at Eurasia Live has taken a closer look at the impact of the Soviet collapse on other regions, nations, industries, and ideas. How did it impact China, India, the Middle East, climate change, and the tech sector? How did it help create Eurasia Group? And then this gives you okay. So Central and Eastern Europe, careful what empire you wish for. By the mid-90s, the former communist countries of Central and Eastern Europe had left behind one multinational empire, only to seek incorporation into another, the EU. I wish I could tell you where this photo was taken and what location and what people that is in respects to their nation, their nationalities, that is. But I don't think we're going to be able to find it. Let's see. Actually, we might be able to. Maybe it'll tell us right here. Nope, it's not going to tell us. My guess it's going to be an Eastern European nation, though. Obviously, after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. But we're going to go back here and finish reading this overview real quick. Let's see. So, a world with no global leader. The underlying shifts in the geopolitical environment have been clear. A U.S. with less interest in assuming leadership responsibilities. U.S. allies, particularly in Europe, that are weaker and looking to hedge bets on U.S. intentions. And two frenemies, Russia and China, seeking to assert themselves as parentheses, limited alternatives to the U.S. Russia primarily on the security front in its extended backyard, and China primarily on the economic front regionally and increasingly globally. These trends have accelerated with the populist revolt against globalism, in quotations, first in the Middle East, then in Europe, and now in the US. Through 2016, you could see the G0 picking up speed on multiple fronts. The further deterioration of the transatlantic alliance with Brexit and the quote unquote no vote on the Italy referendum, the end of America's Asia pivot with the collapse of the Trans Pacific Partnership, and the Filipino president announcing a break with the U.S. The Russian victory in Syria after backing President Bashar al-Assad through nearly 6 years of war. But with the shock of the election of Donald Trump as president of the U.S., the G0 world is now fully upon us. The triumph of America first, quote unquote, as the primary driver of foreign policy in the world's only superpower marks a break with decades of U.S. exceptionalism and belief in the indispensability of U.S. leadership, however flawed and uneven. With it ends a 70-year geopolitical era of Pax Americana, one in which globalization and Americanization were tightly linked, and American hegemony in security, trade, and the promotion of values provided guardrails for the global economy. In 2017, we enter a period of, and this is in bold, geopolitical recession. This year marks the most volatile political risk environment in the post-war period, at least as important to global markets as the economic recession of 2008. It needn't develop into a geopolitical depression that triggers major interstate military conflict and or the breakdown of major central government institutions. But such an outcome is now thinkable, a tail risk from the weakening of international security and economic architecture and deepening mistrust among the world's most powerful governments. And the recession starts with 1. An independent America. So you can read this. We can read this risk. Trump's America First philosophy and his pledge to make America great again, quote unquote, build on the most core of American values, independence. 2 is the China overreacts. China's scheduled leadership transition this fall will shape its political and economic trajectory for a decade or more. 3. Weaker Merkel. This year will bring another wave of political risk in Europe, and some of them will surely materialize amid a weakening of the leadership of German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Sorry, Angela. Some people say Angela, I say Angela. It's obviously Angela. Sorry about that. 4. No reform. Leadership will also be lacking this year on other issues as political officials in both developed and emerging economies avoid structural reform, undermining prospects for growth and new opportunities for investors. So we can continue on. 5. Technology in the Middle East. Despite a veneer of effective autocracy, Middle Eastern governments have been weak for decades. 6. Central banks get political. For the first time in decades, central banks face attack not just in emerging markets, but in the U.S., the Eurozone, and the U.K. 7. The White House versus Silicon Valley. Technology leaders from California, the major state that voted in largest numbers against Trump in the election, have a bone to pick with the new president. 8. Turkey. Voters are close to evenly split on the question of expanding the president's powers, and Erdogan will have to mount an aggressive campaign to win them over. 9. North Korea. 2017 will be a big year for North Korea. That's not a good thing. And we were going to talk about them regarding the World War III possibilities, but obviously we know that, as we spoke before, they're advanced in their own respects, but against the world backdrop of technologically advanced and resourcefully rich other nations, they very much lack. So they are a risk, but only militarily and conflict-wise. 10. South Africa. The political crisis pitting President Jacob Zuma against opponents within and beyond the ruling African National Congress (in parentheses ANC) will worsen in 2017, putting the South African economy at greater risk and damaging regional stability. Red herrings, at least for 2017, the U.S. domestic outlook is neutral to positive. Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will focus on domestic issues. Pressures on Brazil's president will create difficulties, but also more urgency for legislators to approve important reforms. So, in the conclusion of all that, we can read any of those that you guys would like to read. We can go into them, and it fully extends out into real huge articles that we can read into and divulge some conversation from. But the conclusion here ultimately is it's been 19 years since we started Eurasia Group. How could we have known that politics first would not only describe our organization, but the world we live in? It's a challenging time, and we've tried not to shy away from this in the report, but we also close on a note of hope. So many of the world's challenges remain unaddressed because they lack urgency. Politics hasn't been so relevant to our global marketplace in generations, but that's now a reality that is widely accepted and appreciated. Most of the world's leaders understand that we're living through history right now. It's not a time just to sit back and analyze. It's time for truth. This surely won't be comfortable, but we're completely committed to it. And that's why I say that they're a good source of information if you want to go and get into the geopolitical realm of the ties between not only America and its Western allies, Germany, France, the EU as a whole, but also with China, Russia, India, Pakistan, Mexico, all these countries, the NAFTA countries. It's all great stuff. I really enjoy it. See, so here you guys are saying in the chat. Sorry, I kind of read there for a little bit. Oh, Robert, Franklin and C. Gotcha. Very interesting, man. Near Sanders, yeah. Okay. Wait, no, Sanders. Oh, no, yeah, no. That's a shitty fucker. Sanders, yeah, no doubt. Sanders is a shitty fucker. Saint Earth says we need more luxury cruises. Let's all hop on one, man. Alan Partridge says the picture is in Poland. There's a flag in the background. Some people like to say that Trump's election, the Brexit vote, and Italy's no vote in the referendum are all about a backlash against globalization. However, it's more complicated than that. Well, could you tell us what you think it was really what it is all about? To a certain extent, I think it is about anti-globalization. Of course, we didn't pick the most anti-globalist leaders, especially here in America. We certainly have some people in Trump's administration and cabinet who are very close to him, who certainly had their hand in globalization. So, very interesting point and take on that. But it'd be good to hear more from you about that, Alan. And thanks for letting us know about the picture. I couldn't, obviously, I couldn't figure it out. Yep, there is a Polish flag right there. Didn't even notice it. See it now. Good eye, my friend. Hello, Mia. Glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Glad to have you. Alan says, I think Martin Schulz will win the German election. Saint Earth says, 187 DEFCON 1 video. We'll look it up, but I got to be careful showing some videos. I don't want to get any copyright claims. Okay, I'm coming up with a music festival. I'll type in the date you gave me. This is a band. Yeah, this is music. Yeah, I gotta be careful with the music I play, Saint Earth. Don't want any copyright claims, my friend. I'm sorry. But everybody be sure to check out that. Oh, it's a Riot video. Okay. So what'd you type in? 1.8.7 DEFCON 1. I mean, this is coming up as a band. I want to play it, but I don't want to get a copyright claim on this video. I've got too many right now. I wish that I could. I mean, if that's not, is that the right one? Here at the top, Saint Earth. Mia says, I got a picture with Tom Brady. Wow, that's really awesome. That's really, really awesome, Mia. Thanks for letting us know. Mia Lanza says, sorry I'm coming in here a little late. I live in Massachusetts and my family is a big Patriot fan, so they won the Super Bowl, so I was at a Patriot parade. That sounds like a good time. I know that they had a really big parade and you guys got to hang out with everybody, and it's awesome that you got to meet Tom Brady. I mean, he's being regarded as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time now, so that's super duper cool. I would hold on to that photo very closely. Let's see, live sessions vote. Gotcha. Let's do it. there's a lot of speculation that if Jim Sessions is voted into his position, if he's allowed to become if he's allowed to become the AG, I've read many reports that he will prosecute Clinton. He will go after the Clinton Foundation. He'll go after all her cronies. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's a very serious? Do you think that's a serious threat from Jim Sessions? Do you think that's a possibility? Okay, I'm sorry, man. Here, we'll check it out real quick. It says labeled Jungle Sky, though, so it makes me wonder. I'm going to cut the volume off.
They attack all of us for the same reason. All of us catch hell from the same enemy.
I'm thinking this is a band, my friend, but I could be wrong.
We suffer political oppression.
Yeah, this is music, but I'll give you guys the link so you can check it out. I don't want to play too much of it. Yeah, I think it's a band. Hopefully we don't catch a copyright claim off of it, but yeah, you guys can check that out. I just posted it in the in there, so you guys can check that out. Let's see what the chat's saying here. It's a bunch of hogwash, obviously. This guy says he likes making sausage. What the fuck? I doubt that I think they're gonna do everything they can to block him. Because if you ask me, this is 0 hour for the Dems and the cronies of the Hillary Clinton campaign and the foundation. I do think, in my personal opinion, I think Jim Sessions will go after them. Don't know what you guys think. Let's see, what other topics did I have tonight? Oh yeah, did you guys hear about the airstrikes in northern Syria? They were purportedly by Russians. Did you guys hear about that? Sorry, I called him Jim, didn't I? Jeff. My bad. I have a real big problem with mixing Jeff and Jim up. So, apologies. And then last night Robert also told me about an interesting development in Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure how that's furthering, but apparently the Houthi rebels actually struck Saudi Arabia near the capital Riyadh with some Scud missiles. So that's an interesting topic we can talk about. I was going to talk about Betsy DeVos being blocked by the Dems. Thought she was going to get blocked today, but obviously she didn't. Mike Pence stepped in and got her.
Mr. Sass,
see what they're saying.
No.
Mr. Sass, no. That's what they said, I believe. Yeah, it was a hell of a game. The Super Bowl was wild, that's for sure. What's up with the hearing, the travel ban hearing? Has anybody heard anything about that? 6229, have you heard anything? Oh, wow, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. Really, really, I mean, sorry. I didn't mean to call you man me. I'm bad about that. That's really cool, though. Because, well, Donald Trump, it turns out that that's actually, it's being covered up to a certain extent by the Saudi Arabian government. We will come back to this. Let's go ahead and get on that. Since you don't know about it, I'll look it up. Houthis, rebel, attack, Saudi Arabia. And then right here it should come up 1 day ago. Self-rep. This is what we looked at last night. This was a good little article about it, covering it. Right here it says, going ballistic, Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen launch a Scud missile into Saudi Arabia. This is from Derek Gannon, and this is Special Forces News, I believe is what they're called, Soft Rep News. So it says, early Sunday evening, a Russian variant Scud ballistic missile known as the Borkin 1 reportedly struck a Saudi Arabian military outpost 40 kilometers from the densely populated capital of Riyadh. Shortly after the missile's impact, the Yemen-based Shia rebel alliance, known as the Houthis, claimed that they had in fact launched a successful quote-unquote revenge strike into Saudi Arabia, quote-unquote, in retaliation to the enemy American puppet that is Saudi Arabia's continuous bloodshed and besiegement of the Yemeni people. Yemeni people. They did make it very clear to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and its allies that Riyadh is now well within the reach of their Borkin 1 Scud missiles. Saudi Arabia officials have remained silent on the strike, neither confirming nor denying that a missile strike occurred. This was yesterday, as being reported. So let's read the comments. Carl C says, I just found out that on the September 2nd, 2016, the Houthis fired the same missile at a target just outside of Taif City, just about 50 miles from Mecca. Did you guys report on that? If you did, I missed it. It looks like they may be testing the range and accuracy for the missile, and it has the range for the desired targets and is quite accurate. And doing a little digging, I found out the Borkin 1 Scud missile can carry up to 1,100-pound warhead, which would easily be enough for an Iranian 10K nuke or heavier. So suddenly the truth about whether Iran has any nukes after more than 30 years of R&D and help from Pakistan, North Korea, and other nuke nations becomes extremely important. Riyadh, Mecca, and the Median could glow in the dark soon. A very good observation there from somebody. Let's see. Mia Lanza, did you hear about Brady's jersey? Someone stole it out of his bag in the locker room, his game jersey, and it missing. Someone stole it. Oh no, we didn't hear about that. That's some important news, I suppose. That's going to be that's probably going to be invaluable for all intents and purposes. I mean, I'm sure if somebody took that, they're not going to really intend on trying to sell it, but that'd be pretty priceless to me if I was a very big sports fan, especially a Patriots fan. But that's crazy. How did somebody get into the locker room and steal his jersey? That's wild. Donald Trump says, thank God they did not hit the Saudi people. Saudi Arabia versus Iran incoming. If they hit Mecca, there's no point at all. Muslims go there. If they hit Mecca, then there will be a huge, massive war, I imagine. I'm not just trying to be sensationalist. I mean that in every sense of the word. There will be a massive war that will ensue between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Obviously, Saudi Arabia knows for a fact that the Houthis are armed and equipped by Iran. So with this development, it's got huge implications. Robert says it's got a $500,000 estimated value. You'd think it'd be worth more than that, considering how insane that the Super Bowl really ended up being. You know what I'm saying? I would have put my money on $1 million at least for the jersey. But hey, for a T-shirt, $500,000, that's a lot of damn money. The other comments in this article go on. Holly M says, good article, Derek. The regional power of balance between Muslim sects and equally proxy wars, courtesy old quote-unquote superpowers continues. It is a pivotal piece of real estate for Iran and Arabia, and it's another set of complexities almost bordering on Byzantine. Another thing that I just thought of, if they did attack Mecca, it would kind of be against all Muslims. You know what I mean? Even no matter what. I mean, and even though, because I mean, I do know for a fact that a lot of Muslims from different countries travel there. Iraq, Syria, you know, many different nations all over the world. They go to Mecca every year for you know, their Ramadan, their little holy holiday. So let's see. Mia says, search it up. They think it's one of the people who work in the locker room. The people will be arrested, said the police, if they find it. Okay, we'll look into it right now, Mia. Oh, says they found it. Could it be? 6 hours ago. Let's see. We'll go here first, and then we'll look at this one. So, who stole Tom Brady's jersey? We'll look into this real quick. Tom Brady's Super Bowl 51 jersey went missing after Sunday's win over the Falcons, so who stole it? While there's a chance slim that it was merely misplaced and not swiped, it's far more likely that someone deliberately got his or her hands on the jersey for the purposes of selling it at a profit, and that Brady possibly noticed it was gone before the real jersey could be replaced in Brady's bag with a copy. That's one of the allegations made in a still pending lawsuit regarding memorabilia irregularities involving the Giants. Specifically, it's been claimed that the Hall of Fame defensive end Michael Strahan's jersey from Super Bowl. Let's see, what is that? God, I suck with Roman numerals. It's 10. L is 5, and that's 2. So, no, it can't be right. I don't know. It's one of the older Super Bowls was taken and replaced with a replica that was made to look like it actually had been worn by Strahan in the game. As explained last year, the market for game-worn memorabilia has grown dramatically in recent years. Maintaining the chain of custody becomes critical regarding Brady's Super Bowl 51 jersey. The chain has been permanently broken. If and when it ever resurfaces, there's a chance it's not the real one. There's also a chance that whoever buys the real one won't know for certain that it really is the real one. So basically, buyer beware. Yeah, really think about that. How the hell are you going to know unless you were Tom and you knew that it was yours? Even him, it might be hard for him to know. So it's crazy stuff. Thanks, Mia, for telling us that. This is a bad website to be on. It's full of shit. Let's get off that one. Let's see here. Let's see. Donald Trump, can you find out what's going on at Area 51? Yeah, let us know, Donald. Robert says that would be close to a self-cleansing oven. Right. If it hit Mecca, says Robert. Mia says, oh, it would be at least 1 million because it's the best comeback Super Bowl. I got to agree, Mia. That's what I would think, too. Alan Partridge says, Trump's vote was about anti-globalization, as in stopping companies moving to Mexico and other cheaper countries. The majority of the Brexit vote was about limiting migration of the Eastern Europeans to the UK, and a smaller part was to stop the UK having to follow arcane EU regulations. The EU is actually a very protectionist institution at heart and is generally not in favor of free trade. Deals outside of the EU, the Italian referendum would have given the prime minister more power. It was a referendum on the constitution and the method of government in Italy. Although had Renzi won, he would have used his new powers to circumvent Parliament and give more powers to the EU. Regardless of his position on the EU, I doubt the Italian people would have wanted to give any prime minister that much power. Interesting information, Alan. Thank you for letting us know that. And you're absolutely right about it. Consider in regards to the EU and the UK leaving the EU. But yeah, I gotta say that I think the majority of Trump's and momentum that got him into power where he's at now was definitely the constituency base of America. The majority of Americans here is what I mean. They are anti-globalization. They're definitely in most regards. A lot of people believe that globalization is what the New World Order is, Agenda 21, all that other shit. So people are very much against it here in America. But I'd say that more than likely there are some people in the UK and other parts of the EU right now as well that definitely want to a certain extent be out of being puppets towards they're going to war, let's go to war with them kind of deal. Obviously, we see there's a lot. I was reading some articles earlier today dealing with the French contenders in the French election. What are their names? God, I can't remember the Fillon and the other one. They're running into some trouble dealing with some scandals politically and in private dealings. So we'll see what happens. Donald says Area 51 is an aircraft testing place. Spoken like a true Trump. 6-9 says no aliens. Donald Trump says the UFOs seen there are U-2 spy planes. 6-9 says I will sleep better knowing that. Thanks, DT. Yeah, thanks, Donald. Mia says Trump is allowing and inviting the Patriots to the White House for their win. Wow, that's cool. That's really interesting as well, Mia. Thanks for letting us know that. I didn't know that. Saint says Trump is a go-getter. Mia says, what do y'all think of Roger Goodell? Boo Boo Gronk said on the duck boat these words, what do gods think of Roger Goodell? Boo. I'm not sure. Mia, I wasn't watching the parade. I'm not sure if any of the viewers that are here right now either watched it. I did catch bits and pieces of it, but I can't say specifically that I saw the part in which you're talking about right now. So I'm sorry, but I can't give you an honest opinion on it. Robert says roll call vote, no go for Sessions 40 something, yes to no. Damn, knew it. They blocked him.
The text of the letter as she read it, but not the complete letter.
The senator may ask consent.
May I ask unanimous consent that the complete letter from which Senator Warren read be made a part here of the congressional record to confirm that she has in fact read from it.
Objection is heard.
Mr. President.
Senator from Vermont.
Mr. President, this is fascinating. I'd say to my colleagues, I've served.
I'll do that in just a moment, Mia. Give me 1 second, please.
Been here 42 years. I've been here when Democrats were in.
Alan says Farage wanted to withdraw from NATO as he used to say he didn't want to have to follow the U.S. into battle. He's changed his tune since Trump, however. Yep, we'll see about that, right? See how that goes.
I never, ever saw a time when a member of the Senate who asked to put into the record a letter, especially by a civil rights icon, and somebody objected. It's always been done. I've had letters that have been, people have asked to put in that are contrary to the position I might take. Of course I would not object. They're allowed to do that. I've seen letters when members on both sides of the aisle have debated back and forth, and the other side would put in letters that were contrary to their opponent's positions, and of course nobody objected. Don't let the Senate.
Happy birthday, Mia. Happy birthday to
before.
you. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your birthday time with us. That means a lot.
Cooler heads would prevail. We go back to the things that made the Senate great, made the Senate the conscience of the nation, as it should be. I have never once objected to a senator introducing a letter, even though it took a position different than mine. I've never known a Republican senator to do that. And here we're talking about a letter from a civil rights icon. Mr. President, let's not go down this path. It's not good for the country. It's not good for the United States Senate. It's not good for democracy. And it sure as heck is not good for free speech. I admire the senator from Rhode Island. He's a man of great integrity, man who is Attorney General of his state, U.S. Attorney in his state. His request was something that normally...
What do you mean it's going nuclear, Robert? What we're watching now?
Automatically. I would hope senators would reconsider. I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
Yeah, much love, Mia. We're going to get on that. We'll look that up in just a moment.
Entered the objection. And let me say to my good friend who just spoke, I agree with him 100% that we should get back to what made the Senate great. We have rules around here, and the rules are very clear that you don't impugn another senator. Now, you can't do that in your words, and you can't do it with writings. You can't hold up a writing that impugns another senator and say, well, this is what somebody else said. I'm not saying it, but that's okay. It is not okay. It is a violation of the rules, and we should get back to what made this Senate great, and that is staying within the rules, staying within civility, and not impugning another senator, whether it's through words or whether it's through writings. I yield the floor.
Senator from Florida.
I have a parliamentary. All right. The ruling of the chair was based on the
Sorry, guys, it's low quality as hell. I don't know what happened to it.
advice of
Fix
the
that real quick.
parliamentarian. Is that accurate, Mr. Chair? On the advice of the parliamentarian that the rule.
It's debatable, Mia. I don't really, like I've said before in my earlier live streams, this is separate from my personal life, and showing my face might make it easier for people to identify me. Not like I'm famous or anything in real life, but it's just I like to keep my personal life separate from what I'm doing here.
Is the rule
But
say
it's
that
a possibility.
anything that impugns another member of the Senate directly or indirectly?
And
Is
I'm
that an
far from
accurate
100
reading of the rule?
subs. But thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm not, what we talk about here and stuff, it's just, it's like mixing milk with oil. It's not going to work.
Senator, you are correct.
So,
and I will
maybe
read the
I'd show it
paragraph.
to
This
you
is,
if you wanted, but
Rule 19,
I have no
Section
quarrels about
2.
that. But when it comes to the
No
live
senator
stream,
debate shall, directly
like to
or
keep my personal
indirectly,
life out of it.
by any form of words impute to another senator or to other senators any conduct or motive unworthy or unbecoming a senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Senator from Oregon,
a parliamentary inquiry.
state your question.
If a member of the Senate is being considered for nomination, and we're exercising our advice and consent power, and if there is factual conduct in that individual's background that is presented on the floor that is uncomplimentary, would presenting the facts of that conduct in the process of debating an individual be considered in violation of Rule 19?
The rules make no distinction between those senators who are nominees and those who are not. And the rule does not permit truth to be evidence of a slight or to be a defense of a slight.
Mr. President, just to make sure I understand that clearly, if we are considering
Can you expand upon that, Robert?
to be a senator and we state factual elements of their background, for example, conviction of a crime that is inappropriate conduct in the past, stating the factual record about an individual would be considered in violation of Rule 19.
Each of these cases will be decided by the presiding officer in the context at that time.
Just to clarify, if I could, therefore, the point is that something can be absolutely true as perhaps a point that was made earlier. A statement can be true in a letter that is presented, but even if it's true and accurate for a person under consideration for nomination, it would still be in violation. In other words, the fact that an individual is found in violation of Rule 19 doesn't mean that the statement had to be false. It could have been a true statement. Thank you.
You are correct, Senator.
Thank you.
President.
The Assistant Republican Leader.
Mr. President, I just want the record to be abundantly clear. The language that resulted in the vote that we had invoking Rule 19 was related to a quotation from Senator Ted Kennedy that called the nominee a disgrace to the Justice Department, and he should withdraw his nomination and resign his position. That was the quote.
Yeah, I heard that too, Robert.
Our colleagues want to try to make this all about Coretta Scott King, and it is not. I think the complete context should be part of the record.
Oh, I think it had something to do with a letter from Loretta Scott King,
Parliamentary inquiry.
Martin Luther King's wife.
Mr. President.
Could have heard that wrong.
It's my understanding, I was not there, that there was a warning over Senator Kennedy's letter, but the actual ruling was based
There's
on
the devil himself.
Scott King's letter. Is that correct?
One of them.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Senator from Rhode Island.
pursuing
Senator Merkley's hypothetical, if it came before the Senate that a member of the Senate who was a nominee seeking the advice and consent of the Senate to the position was, for example, in fact, a horse thief, and we found the fact that he was a horse thief to be relevant to whether or not he should be considered.
Oh my God, Mia, I hate to hear that.
Say to the Department of Interior.
Put some ice on it, definitely. I hate that happened on your birthday. Yeah, that really stinks, but I'm glad you got to experience the parade and have a good day still, even though you hurt your thumb really bad. I hope it heals up soon, really.
Fact that the senator was a horse thief as we debate his nomination here on the floor?
That's good, Mia.
Once again, the answer is the same, that each of these decisions will be made at the time and in the context in which they occur, and the decision of the chair is subject to a vote of the Senate and an appeal.
Good thing your mom's a doctor, so she can help you with that, Mia.
Mr. President, what I don't understand is that we have fairly significant responsibilities under the Constitution to provide advice and consent. And it appears that the ruling of the chair has just said that when a member of this body is the subject of that advice and consent, then derogatory information about that person is not in order and is a violation of Rule 19 on the Senate floor. And with that being the ruling, I don't know how we go about doing our duties. Are we supposed to simply blind ourselves to derogatory information, discuss it privately in the cloakrooms, not bring it out onto the floor of the United States Senate, this supposedly great debating society that actually has a constitutional responsibility to discuss both the advantages and the deficits of a particular nominee?
Damn, that really sucks, Mia. Well, the faster you get it mended and properly placed and stuff by a medical professional,
In each case,
the sooner it'll heal and the more properly it'll heal. So I hope you do go tomorrow and get it mended.
By the Senate to support or not to support.
We're gonna look up that Roger Goodell thing in just a moment.
The president's decision.
So the precedent going
It really does, Mia. I hope it heals soon.
That any senator who discusses derogatory information that is...
Oh, I understand, Robert. I got you, man.
May even include criminal behavior by a senator who is a candidate for executive appointment that requires advice and consent is at risk of being sanctioned by this body, by a simple partisan majority of this body, under Rule 19 if they raise those issues on the floor.
Very stern in his speech.
It is not necessary for a point of order to be raised under Rule 19, but if the point of order is raised, then an opinion will be made, and it is subject to a vote of the Senate in the matter previously described.
Mr. President.
Senator from Florida.
I have some comment, but let me first a parliamentary inquiry about, these are the continuing rules of the Senate that have been in existence previous to this time and have carried over into this session. Is that correct?
The senator is correct.
And the reason why I ask that, Mr. President, is the following. Look, I think we all feel very passionate about the issue.
Yeah, Robert, I don't know.
I have not been here as long as Senator.
That'd be amusing and entertaining, but it certainly isn't the
time, and I truly do understand
the way of a republic. So.
I like to think that I too am passionate about the issues before us, and I think this is an important moment. It's late. I doubt very many people are paying attention. I wish they would, though, because I think what's at question here is perhaps one of the very reasons why I ran for this body to begin with. And maybe it's because of my background and where I'm surrounded by people that have lost freedoms in places where they're not allowed to speak. One of the great traditions of our nation is the ability to come forward and have debates. But the founders and the framers and those who established this institution and guided it for over 2 centuries understood that that debate was impossible if, in fact, the matters became of a personal nature. And let me begin by saying that I don't believe that that was necessarily the intention here, although that was perhaps the way it turned out. But I think it's important for us to understand why that matters so much. I want people to think about our politics here today in America. Because I'm telling you guys, I don't know of a single nation in the history of the world that's been able to solve its problems when half the people in a country absolutely hate the other half people in that country. This is the most important country in the world. And this body cannot function if people are offending one another, and that's why those rules are in place. I was not here when Secretary Clinton was nominated as a member of this body at the time, but I can tell you that I am just barely old enough to know that some very nasty things have been written and said about Secretary Clinton. And I think the Senate should be very proud that during her nomination to be Secretary of State, despite the fact that I imagine many people were not excited about the fact that she would be Secretary of State, to my recollection, and perhaps I'm incorrect, not a single one of those horrible things that have been written or said about her, some of which actually did accuse her of wrongdoing, were ever uttered on the floor of the Senate. I happen to remember in 2004, when then Senator Kerry ran for president, some pretty strong things were written and said about him. I was here for that vote when he was nominated and confirmed to be Secretary of State.
I'm sorry, man, but what?
Written into the record about the things that had been said about him. And I want everybody to understand at the end of the night, this is not a partisan issue. It really is not. I can tell you this with full confidence. If one of my colleagues on this side of the aisle had done that, I would like to think that.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to move it too much, Mia. Definitely don't want to move it too much.
These parliaments around the world where people throw chairs at each other and punches.
I got to agree, Robert. These people are shitting their pants.
How does that make you feel about those countries? Doesn't give you a lot of confidence about those countries. Now, I'm not arguing that we're anywhere near that here tonight, but we're flirting with it. We're flirting with it in this body, and we are flirting with it in this country. We are becoming a society incapable of having debates anymore. In this country, if you watch the big policy debates that are going on in America, no one ever stops to say, I think you're wrong, I understand your point of view.
Perhaps this is why they're having a debate, town hall style, between Bernie Sanders and Ted Cruz. So people are more interested in watching that right now than watching what this is, and this is really important.
The other side jumps and says, the reason why you say that is because you don't care about poor people, because you only care about rich people.
Dang, Mia.
Because you're this or you're that.
Sounds like it hurt.
And I'm just telling you guys, we are reaching a point in this republic where we're not going to be able to solve the simplest of issues because everyone is putting themselves in a corner where everyone hates everyone.
Alan, this is the deliberation after the hearing on Jeff Sessions being
perhaps hyperbole, and for those
voted against by a majority of the Senate to become Attorney General under Trump's administration of the United States.
But the ability of the most important nation on earth to debate in a productive and respectful way the pressing issues before us. And I just hope we understand.
So why didn't you allow him to become Attorney General?
For the other chamber, and I understand that it was designed to be different. But one of the reasons why I chose to run for the Senate and quite frankly to run for re-election is because I believe that I serve with 99 other men and women who deeply love their country, who have different points of view, who represent men and women who have different views.
I'll do it right after he gets done speaking.
And who are here to
Mia. Alan, the Attorney General is who heads over and presides over the Department of Justice in America, and basically he's the general of all lawyers. He's like the head lawyer who goes after political criminals, corrupt officials, corrupt corporations, businesses.
And they articulate it in a very passionate and effective way. And I understand when I see my colleagues stand up and say something I don't agree with, I try to tell myself, look, I don't understand why they stand for that, but I know why they're doing it, because they represent people who believe that. And I am so grateful that God has allowed me to be born and to live and to raise my family in a nation where people with such different points of view are able to debate those things in a way that doesn't lead to war, that doesn't lead to overthrows, that doesn't lead to violence.
What?
And you may take that for granted.
What the fuck are you talking about, Marco?
Tonight, there are people that if they stood up here and said the things that we say about the president or others in authority, you go to jail. And I'm not saying that's where we're headed as a nation. I'm just saying don't ever take that for granted. And the linchpin of that is this institution. The linchpin of that debate is the ability of this institution, through unlimited debate and the decorum necessary for that debate, to be able to conduct itself in that manner. And so I know that tonight was probably a made-for-TV moment for some people. This has nothing to do with censoring the words of some of the great heroes. I have extraordinary admiration for the men and women who led the civil rights.
What a
effort in this
poignant
country.
monologue, Marco.
And
Get to
I
your
am
point.
Self-conscious
Good
enough
God.
or understanding to know that many of the things that have been possible for so many people in this country in the 21st century were made possible by the sacrifices and the work of those in that movement that came before us. This has to do with a fundamental reality. And
No,
that is that
he
this
runs
body
the
cannot
Department of
carry out
Justice, and he presides over the Supreme
is not
Court
able to conduct debates
and
in
all
any way
courts,
that is
basically,
respectful
that are
of one
federal.
another, especially those of us who are in this chamber together. And I also understand this, that if the Senate ceases to work, if we reach a point where this institution, given everything else that's going on in politics today, where you are basically allowed to
No,
say
he works and presides over all federal
I have
courts.
seen over the last year and a half things said about people, about issues, about institutions in our republic.
And he's not so much a lawyer for the president as he is like the lawyer, what's the proper word? He's the legal advisor. Yeah, he can throw out any case. He can pardon. Basically, he can say we're not going to worry about this. We're going to overlook this. And that's why the Democrats right now are pushed. They pushed to not get him elected to his nomination. So. There's a lot of speculation out there saying that Jeff was going to. They said that a lot of people believe that Jeff Sessions was going to go after Hillary and all of her cronies, like Charles Schumer, which is the Democratic leader here.
And I think every single one of us, to our great shame, will live to regret.
Damn, that sucks, Robert.
Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Mr. President,
The Democratic leader.
I don't want to prolong this much more. I would just, in light of what my friend from Florida said, reread what I said earlier.
Oh, yeah,
If
I'm
average
fucking Charles
Americans
Schumer.
heard
I'm a fucking
someone
awesome
get a
guy.
letter from Coretta Scott King that said what it said, they would not be offended. They would say that's someone's opinion. That's all. It seems to me we could use Rule 19 almost every day on the floor of the Senate, as my colleague from Maine so poignantly and piquantly exhibited a few minutes ago. This selective enforcement.
Well, not any case, but basically he has to look at the evidence and give his best, he offer his most honest speculation on it.
The comedy of the Senate, which I treasure as
Yeah, I'll go look it up right now, Mia. As you can see, Alan, people are shitting their pants because they fucking blocked Sessions from getting his nomination. What am I supposed to be looking up, Mia? Sorry. I'm going back and looking. Search Gronk talks about Goodell. I'm not seeing anything come up from recently. Yeah, if you can give me a more specific thing to look up, I'll get back on it. But I'm not seeing what you're talking about right now, Mia. Sorry.
This was unnecessary.
Mr. President.
From the senator from Utah.
Mr. President, sometimes you agree with him and sometimes you disagree with him. But he's always been a gentleman. He's always been kind and considerate of his colleagues. I can't name one time when he wasn't.
Gronk shouts out about Goodell.
We're treating him like he's some...
Well, I mean, if he doesn't get the nomination, then they have to pick somebody else to nominate, and then they basically have an acting AG, basically like somebody who's already been working under the former AGs under the Obama administration. Right now, Trump has appointed somebody who was working within the Department of Justice under the former Obama administration. Basically, it's just they're not going to have somebody who's totally in line with what they want done in the country. But particularly it matters because, like I said, there's a lot of speculation and there's a lot of people within America right now that want to see at least an investigation formally and federally done by the Department of Justice furthering into the Clinton email scandal, as well as fuck, man, my brain is all shitted right now. Excuse me, guys. The evidence that shows that the Clinton Foundation was involved in a lot of illegal acts, like selling their pay to play deals with Russia, where the Clinton Foundation has been purported. There's evidence showing that they actually sold like 1/3 of the uranium mining concessions in America to Rosatomic, which is Russia's state-sponsored atomic industry, which enriches uranium and plutonium. So there's a lot. That's one thing. There's a shit ton of others that have been exposed through the email scandal, as well as Pedogate. People want to see a formal and federal investigation properly and thoroughly done, and Jeff Sessions is apparently the guy who was going to go and do that. So let's see. Mia says Gronk shouts out about Goodell. I'm still not seeing it, Mia. Yeah, let me know a video, because I literally just typed that in and there's sorry, not live, but there's nothing coming up here. So, let me know if you get a video link to it. No, the Democrats are stonewalling Sessions. Basically, okay, Mia, sorry. I hope it gets better. I hope you go to the doctor tomorrow and get it all sorted, really. I hate to hear that. Thanks for dropping in, though. Much obliged. Much love. Take it easy.
Terrible person who doesn't deserve to be chosen by the current President of the United States to be Attorney General of the United States. I think we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. I really do, on both sides. And frankly, we've got to get to where everything is not an issue here. I know some of my friends on the other side, and I've chatted, and they're not happy with the way this body is going. And with good reason. Everything doesn't have to lead to a gut fight on the floor. But that's where we're going. And frankly, there's an awful lot of politics being played here, sometimes on both sides.
Yeah, it sure did, Robert. I don't know how you guys are feeling about watching this right now. We don't have to continue watching it. I don't want to bore anybody. It seems that it's really interesting me, obviously. I've been super quiet. I'm really sorry about that, guys. But this is a major deal. Fact of the matter is, the people who went out and voted in this country voted Donald Trump. Okay? There was no foreign intervention. There was no scandal. There was no rigging of the election. The people of this country democratically and openly went out and stated that they wanted Donald Trump for president. They voted that, and it happened. Okay? There's a lot that's going to be there's a lot of implications that are going to come from this in the next few days. I imagine Donald Trump right now is not happy at all. Especially Jeff Sessions. Of all people, Jeff Sessions is certainly not happy. And happy birthday, Mia. Let's see. Well, mainly the people of America who voted for Donald Trump, they're not happy. Particularly as well, probably a large constituency base of the Trump administration. I mean, it's basically the Democrats don't want, from what I can tell, the Democrats don't want Sessions in a place of power, in a position of power, especially over the Department of Justice, like I said, where he can basically say, we're going to federally investigate and fully investigate formally the Clinton email server scandal. We're going to investigate every piece of email that shows that they're implicated in illegal actions with foreign entities. We're going to investigate everything, even down to Pedogate, is what I'm imagining is what the situation was. So not only are people in America mad, but I'm imagining a large base of the Republican Party is mad, especially in the Donald Trump administration. So Robert says, I dig it. Mia says, bye, and look at the comments. Won't live you are watching about Trump. I'm sorry, Mia, that didn't really make much sense to me. Robert says, the Republicans aren't thrilled. The Democrats are freaking the fuck out because Sessions will lay the smack down. Yeah, what we're trying to say is Sessions was going to go in and get rid of the corrupt officials that are involved with Hillary, okay? It's obvious, and there's factual evidence based openly, and it's out there, showing that Debbie Wasserman Schultz was deeply involved with the Clinton Foundation, and she was setting up the DNC to nominate Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders, even though it was obvious that Bernie Sanders had an overwhelming majority of support in the Democratic Party. So she resigned from her position before there could be any more bad publicity come out from her about her. That's just one example. So there is a lot involved with the Clinton email scandal that has not been fully investigated, which needs to be properly investigated. The former AG, Loretta Lynch, was spotted on an airplane while there was a quote-unquote formal investigation federally going on about the Clinton email scandal, but she was spotted getting on a plane with Bill Clinton, discussing, just saying hello and howdy, but she spent like 10 or 20 minutes on the airplane. Let's be honest, it was like 2 or 3 days before the hearing was on the finalization of the findings of the emails. And, of course, Comey said all this shit. The director of the FBI came out and he said, we found some reasons to believe that, there are some illegal things involved in the emails that need to be further investigated. And then like 2 days later, after Loretta Lynch was spotted on that airplane with Bill Clinton, he comes out and he's like, well, we didn't find anything. Sorry. And then like 2 days before the election, he came out and said something again. There was a lot to be speculated on. Let's see here. Trump, Sessions, nuclear. Oh, they're going to do the nuclear option. Got you. I'm not finding anything, mate. Mia says, look for a light green M in the comments on the live you're watching. It's going to be hard to, Mia. There was about 4,000 people in that live stream. Close to 5,000.
And we look forward to hearing from her tomorrow and many days in the future on
there you are.
Many topics. I also wanted to say something.
I see you, Mia. You're saying bye. Hey, bye, Mia. Thank you. I hope your thumb gets better.
He means what he says about treating this chamber with the dignity that we all deserve and the American people deserve. And also, I especially was impressed by the words from the senator from Florida. And when I see the leader and the Democratic leader over there.
Right. It is. There are some differences between our political system and the UK's. Absolutely. I think the way that that your parliament and it's the parliament. Ours is a Senate, and then there's parliamentary rules that they oblige by. But in your situation, where the parliament is kind of like the same thing as the Senate goes, and the ministers of parliament go and deliberate. It's actually like. Oh, thank you, Mia. That's so sweet. Really appreciate that, Mia. Hopefully people will see it. I love that. Thank you so much. Much love to you. But yeah, there's definitely major differences. The way your parliament deliberates, it seems like they're more open with each other. It's more, there's not as many civil rules. I've seen, more instances where they call each other out in your parliament in the UK. So it says, I believe that'd be perfectly legal here to rig a party leadership election. Wow, that's unfortunate. But they definitely did that here, and it was totally illegal. So It goes against the party rules. You're right. It's not federally illegal. It's illegal in the sense of the DNC's own rules. They broke their own rules. So Robert says, too damn bad. Trey Gowdy was appointed. Yep, and they still got Jason Shavitz in there as well. So it's just, yeah, St. Earth, I consider it a betrayal as well. They're stonewalling Sessions because they're afraid of what will happen when he becomes Attorney General. And that, from what I understand, there were going to be around 70 arrests made based on the Pedogate information that they developed and further investigated fully from Anthony Weiner's email scandal. The laptop scandal, excuse me, where they actually found some of the deleted emails from the Clinton servers in his laptop. So it's very interesting. Very interesting stuff for sure. Almost makes me want to sit here and watch it some more. We've got some more topics that I could cover, but I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. We'll get back on tomorrow night. We'll cover some more stuff. We might even catch some protests, some rallies, some demonstration footage. I've still got a few here that we might be able to go and talk about. If not, I will definitely go ahead and get some more topics pulled up for tomorrow. But folks, it's been a good night. We talked about a lot of things. Let's see. Alan says, but if they didn't break any federal laws, there is no legal case to prosecute. Prostitute. No, Alan. When they broke federal laws, it's involving the Clinton administration. Actually, their illegal actions with foreign entities. The supposed involvement in a pedophile ring. Okay, it goes on even into things like organ harvesting in Haiti. The illegal actions in which there's a whole lot that the Clinton Foundation was involved in. And like I've said in some of my past live streams, you have to go and actually get into WikiLeaks, go to the Clinton dump, and then take a look through the Clinton email dump as well as the John Podesta dump, the John Podesta email dump. There are about, combined between the Podesta email dump and the Clinton email dump, there's around anywhere from 60 to 80,000 emails that they, obviously they're pulling out a lot of information from. John Podesta's emails are already proving that the Clinton Foundation, as well as him and his brother, the Podesta group, are involved in a pedophile ring. Again, the Clinton Foundation has been allegedly sold uranium concessions to the Russian government. There's other implications as well as coming from those emails. That's what the whole federal basis, the federal law-breaking basis is based on. So that's why that we say that we think that Jeff Sessions is being stonewalled. The Democratic Party is afraid of a total dissolution of all their major members. Basically the whole party foundation will be broken down if Jeff Sessions is allowed to become Attorney General, which according to Donald Trump's expressing his wanting to go and do the nuclear option, which I can go and talk. We'll look that up real quick. Let's see. Where can we find something? Yeah. Trump would favor nuclear option if basically what just happened is a filibuster is where all Democrats, even if some of them don't agree with each other on other options or other topics or debates, they actually line up with each other on this particular topic, and they what is called filibuster or stonewall the Attorney General pick. So it says here. Of course, this is the Washington Times, but it says President Trump says he'd want a Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to trigger the nuclear option to do away with the 60-vote threshold in the Senate if Democrats filibuster his nominee. And what that means is the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, which he's a Republican and in line with Trump, he would actually change the rulings temporarily to, I think, a 40 vote, which is which would become the minimum to get Jeff Sessions passed. And approved for Attorney General. So this is what happened tonight. They did filibuster his nominee. Trump said, it's quoted as saying, "I would use the nuclear option. We have obstructionists. What they did to Jeff Sessions, who's a great man and a wonderful man, and then they delayed it another week because they have a 1-week delay option. That's not fair to a man. Other people are delayed." Citing CIA Director Mike Pompeo, who ended up getting confirmed on Monday rather than last Friday. He said, why are they doing that? He said, I'll tell you what, they're obstructionists. The real obstruction is them. They're trying to stop the potential federal investigation furthering into the Democratic Party, which will end up implicating many members of the Democratic Party and maybe even some of the Republican Party. Let's see. Alan says, from the outside, I don't think it looks good for Trump to go after his political opponents. It looks rather tyrannical. Well, they're already going after him. I mean, there's a lot. They have a lot. Especially Charles Schumer has a lot to do with kind of imploring people to go out and riot and protest. So they're using, of course, American means and legitimate constitutional rights of the American people to go after Trump already. But what they're not realizing is he's won. There's nothing they can impeach him on. There's nothing they can get rid of him on. The only way they could really get rid of Trump at this point, and God forbid it happen, is if he were to be assassinated. And that would be a complete blasphemy on our own American political system. So there's a lot of things that are going to be brought up from this situation in the next few days. We're going to have to keep our eyes on it. But again, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here. Robert says, we don't really care if it looks tyrannical. We care about the truth and justice. Sometimes it takes an iron fist to get penetration. Alan asks, has the nuclear option been used before? Well, that's a good question, actually. We'll cover that really quick. We'll see. Has a president ever used the nuclear option in Senate? May 9th, 2005, Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid offered the Democrats support for one of President Bush's judicial nominees, former Senate lawyer Thomas B. Griffith. Obama-era rule change haunts Senate Democrats. So, yeah, it looks like it has within the last 10 years. Bush appointments, let's see. Nuclear option readied. Yep, it looks like it might have been. Okay, that's not what we were looking at. Use of nuclear option during Obama presidency. In 2011, with a Democratic majority in the Senate, but not a supermajority, Senators Jeff Merkel and Tom Udall proposed a sweeping filibuster reform package to be implemented via the constitutional option, but Majority Leader Harry Reid dissuaded them from pushing it forward in October 2011. However, Reid triggered the nuclear option to make a more modest change in Senate precedents. In a 51-48 vote, the Senate prohibited any motion to waive the rules after a filibuster is defeated. Changing Senate precedents with a majority threshold does not reach the level of an actual change in Senate rules. On several occasions in the past, former Senate Majority Leader Robert Byrd used the same procedure to change Senate precedents. On one occasion, he was able to put an end to the post-cloture filibuster by setting a precedent that the presiding officer take the initiative to rule dilatory amendments out of order. Basically, what the nuclear option is to change rules in a very shortcoming position. Basically, the Republicans have a supermajority representation right now in the Senate. So, and not only that, also in Congress. So, in other words, what Mitch McConnell will do, the Senate Majority Leader he'll go and change the rules to actually implement a minimum vote count, which I think it's 40. All Jeff Sessions has to do is receive 40 votes, and he will become the Attorney General, which it looked like that's what he got. It was 40 to 50. Very, very tight vote. All right, see you, Alan. See you tomorrow night, guys. Nixon used it as well. That's interesting, Robert. Thank you for letting us know. Guys, we had a good night. We're going to get some more topics in here tomorrow. We're going to get some more interesting discussion. Be sure to like, share, do whatever you want with this video. Hopefully there's no copyright claims. But let your friends and family know about us here. You know what we do. Much love to everybody. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you again soon.